Hey everyone, hey TV fans, hey Stranger Things fans. So I'm back with Madison today. You may remember a few weeks ago we did a live stream where we discussed Volume 1 of the final season. And I've reviewed Volume 2 on a video. You can go and check that out. I sort of did one big video for Volume 2. But Madison has recently binged Volume 2 and the mammoth finale, technically Volume 3. So she's done a massive binge watch catch up, which was a nice idea. And that means it's very fresh in her memory. It's still quite fresh in mine. But I thought because Madison obviously hasn't talked about Volume 2 yet on this channel, then I would get some of your thoughts on Volume 2 before we move on to the finale. And we have so much to talk about. But hey, Madison, welcome. So I give you the
Hi. Thank you for having me. Yeah, it was wild binging all of those episodes, but it was an interesting experience. But I think binging is the only way to go with Stranger Things because it's just there's so much to keep up with and there's so many storylines. So definitely glad I binged it. And yeah, that's the best way.
Yeah. No, I'm happy for you. Like, I think the only reason I didn't, in a way, was just because, like, doing it for the channel. Although in the end, the way it worked out, I did sort of binge it really because it was that thing over Christmas. I said about this because my brother he doesn't watch it, and it's that thing of, should we just wait till we get home? Volume 2, I didn't have too much spoiled. I think I saw the odd image and like one or two.
I'm happy for you. I had so much spoiled. I was like, oh, so they graduated. It's nice to know that Max apparently lived. Oh, this happened. So,
well,
yeah, there was a lot because I waited so long. But, honestly, people were posting spoilers like 3 days after the finale came out. I was like, no, this is wrong.
Yeah.
Come on, people.
Yeah, I mean, they always do. I mean, obviously, Volume 2 I was talking about. Obviously, we'll get to the big Will coming out scene. But, I think that was one impossible to avoid because really the whole internet was talking about it. Not quite as much of a binge as you, but I did binge a little bit because I was like, I said to Mum, right, we've got these 3 episodes and then UK time, the finale comes out New Year's Day, basically.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, 1 episode a day, back to back. And they're long episodes, to be fair, but so it was like in a line like that. So it worked out just about perfect. And I just had to stay off social media or roughly stay off it for roughly a day just to avoid finale spoilers.
That sounds brutal.
Yeah, well,
stay off for a whole day.
Yeah. Overall, I did okay, but so I enjoyed watching it like that, as you did, more of a binge, and definitely the Stranger Things show is one of the great binge shows of our time, without doubt, and that's why it's great that it's out now. It's all out, so it will make for a fantastic rewatch.
Oh yeah,
Volume 2. This is all very confusing. So
yes, 2 comes before 3.
Yeah. Okay. Bit of sass from Madison.
We were talking earlier before we started recording about maybe streaming some of the Saw films, and I was like, oh, well, we should do 1, we should do 3. I love 3. We should do 6. So all of the odd numbers. Oh wait, 6 isn't odd. We both struggle with numbers. That's
great jumper she got.
Oh yes, let me show this off real quick. My Christmas present was this hoodie.
That's awesome.
Long live Hellfire. So
absolutely, we can all get behind that message. The 3 episodes were basically Shock Jock, which has nothing to do with Robin, by the way, in case you don't know. They tricked me with that title because I thought it was going to be something Robin related. Escape from Comatose, however you say that word. That was episode 6, where a lot of the big drama happened in this part. and then you obviously had the very divisive episode, The Bridge. So that was the 3 episodes for Volume 2. There you go. I got it right that time. So, Madison, overall, you can just throw out some thoughts. What did you think of these 3 episodes?
So I really loved these 3 episodes. There was a few nitpicks I had, but overall, I really enjoyed them. I felt like 5 was kind of like we're just getting from this point to this point episode. I didn't really take a lot of notes for 5, but I really liked 6. Whenever they start finding out. Oh, I did like the cliffhanger in 5 where, Dustin's like trying to stop that was wonderful. That was one of the best moments, actually, where Dustin's like, don't do it. And then Nancy's just, Nancy just, I'm going to shoot this. I'm going to shoot that. Like, just, she was very action hero this season.
Yeah, because the end line was great as well. It's like, Jonathan's like, are you sure about this? She's like, no, and shoots anyway. And I half expected that it was going to be something like she didn't really shoot or something when we got to it, but which obviously I'm glad they didn't do, because that would have been lame. But that was a really good cliffhanger.
Yeah, that was great. Yeah, it was very tense. Also, the beginning of episode 6, I wrote Erica in my notes. Erica and Murray is gold. Like, I didn't know I needed scenes between them, but oh my gosh, that scene where they go to the teacher and Mary's like, okay, Snookums and Sugar Lump, which Sugar Lump, I have to admit, I've never heard that as an endearing nickname before. So that was nice. But, oh my gosh, like, I loved that whole scene. If they do a spinoff with those 2, I'm there. Like, I don't even care what the plot's about. I could just do a regular teen drama and I'll watch it. I also liked the nods to Billy, and then bringing the teacher back. I like how they referenced all of the previous seasons. I thought that was really good. And I wrote, whenever Robin keeps bringing up Enzo's with her girlfriend, I was like, apparently Enzo's is the only romantic place in this entire town. And the Duffer brothers don't know any other way to romance a woman than taking her to a restaurant. So
apparently not. I guess that's what they grew up on. Yeah.
No picnics, no movies. It's just Enzo's. That's
because also, quick fact, and I think this is going more back to Volume 1. But did you know that was the teacher that appears is their teacher in real life from high school? Did you see that? Yeah, the one who's like looking after the kids when they go to like the military base and what have you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that was the Duffer's real life teacher.
Oh, so that's funny.
I love that. Yeah. That
you want to be in Stranger Things?
But yeah. I'm not going to say no. I'm retired now. I'm on like a teacher's
pension. Yeah. That's great.
Go for it.
Yeah. So I like Dustin's explanation, although I had to rewind it. The first 3 times I heard it, it made no sense. He was like, this plane, the upside down, it's not another dimension. It isn't another world. It's a wormhole, a bridge between 2 points in space, between our world and another. And I was like, but it is, you just said it's not another world, and now you're saying it's another world. But I realized after watching all of it, it was so confusing. It's not another world, but it connects to another world. So I'm like, okay, so he's talking about the upside down as the bridge to the other world. I'm assuming the other world is going to be a lot like the bridge with monsters and terrible things. So I'm like, it's really a technicality to be like, it's not another world. It's a bridge to another world. Like,
yeah,
it is another world.
Been a lot of monologue in this season and explaining of things, and some of it has definitely been better than others, but like pretty much all of that stuff with Dustin and the whole science thing, like even though it gets a bit convoluted and things, like like, I'm someone who really likes mythology and mythology building, and you know, I am a big sci-fi fan, so I think that's partly why I do have a soft spot for this season. I think because of some of the big bold ideas they have, and I think like, and just how good like that stuff look with that group of characters in that particular place. You know, like we mentioned, Nancy shooting up into the sky, and just how fantastical that all looked, and like mysterious, but also kind of like dangerous at times. So it was, I think because I love Dustin so much as a character, and the actor obviously does it so well. I think it's just that thing of, if it was a character I was less invested in, then it would sort of lose me. But because he does like this dialogue so well, I was just like, yeah, you can tell me anything, Dustin. I'll buy it from you. I was enjoying the mythology building. Like, that was exciting stuff, what it was setting up.
I was just about to say that. I do think what helps is that Dustin, not only is the actor so good at delivering that scene, I think he did a great job. He does really sell it. Even though I was laughing, I was laughing at the writing. I was like, they really could have tweaked that a little bit to, but you're right. He delivers it so well. I didn't mind. I was still interested. I was very excited that we're getting answers. And also that happens like right after the big scene where he's like, no, stop. And I liked the timing of it too. So all of that worked really well. And I don't really have a big complaint with that. It was just funny, like that technicality.
A bit bogged down.
Another thing I mentioned, I wrote down, was that scene towards the end where Max goes back to the real world, or she's heading towards it, and she's with Holly. And, you know, Holly's like, I don't have a boyfriend. I don't have Kate Bush. I don't even know who Kate Bush is, which was a great line.
It was.
Yeah. And then Max says, you don't need Kate Bush. And I was like, well, that's good to know. I was like, I told Keith, like, Kate Bush is just like in the background counting all of her money. And she's just like, oh, you didn't need me? All right, that's fine.
That's fine. Yeah, keep counting.
That's fine. I still got paid either way. So I think that was pretty funny to me, because I said that, I think last time we did a review, I was like, you know who I'm really happy for? Kate Bush, because she's getting a lot of royalties on these episodes.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I thought that was funny, but I really liked that scene too. That was a great scene. And then of course, you know, Holly getting sucked up and her not being able to rejoin Max was really good. So yeah, I don't have any like real complaints about episode 6. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was really good at setting up, you know, the next episodes. And yeah, I like that.
Well, I was going to jump in there because like episode 6, was a standout for me. Like, I pretty much loved all of it. Like, I loved all the Max stuff with Holly. Like, Max's speech was just so beautiful, and I like the fact that she brings up, you can't come back with me because it's like my memory, not yours. Because like there is a logic to that, and it was actually, because I had 2 questions about episode 6, but and one is, do you agree with Max's decision to leave Holly behind?
Yeah, because
that's a talking point.
Yeah, for one thing, nobody knows where Holly is. They don't have that information that Max has. So not only does she need to go back for herself, but she needs to go back to tell them this so they can try to get Holly. And then, like she said, you know, you just have to find the I think Max was fully convinced that Holly was gonna be able to get out since they were at that place. And then she says later she felt terrible about leaving Holly. So I think that kind of indicates how hopeful she was that Holly was going to get out. So I think it was the right call. So
they sold it quite well in that scene in the next episode with her and Lucas. And I can understand why that's a bone of contention. Like, I think you could argue maybe Max, even though what she was saying, there's a logic to it, then maybe they could have tried anyway. But no, I mean, there is a logic to it. And Yeah, I think it also fits with the fact that she's giving Holly this inspirational speech, because obviously she mentions the Kate Bush thing. She also mentioned the fact that really Lucas was the key to her having hope and getting out. And I think hope is a big theme this season, especially once you get to the end of the season. But you know, and obviously that joke about, yeah, well, I don't have a boyfriend, but it's like, you know, you'll find someone. And to me, that's a big thing with Stranger Things, is I think a bit like a show like Buffy, I think it is a show about sort of found family and about how important friends are. And this kind of idea that if you band together and work together, you can actually take down these forces of evil and save the world. And obviously one of the things we love it so much is because proactive teams, what Max was saying in that speech where she was giving her motivation, and I just love the whole direction, like the parallel running, like them running separately.
That was good.
Yeah, it was. So I was getting emotional watching it. So I think overall, like, there was a lot of great stuff in episode 6. Like, and the stakes just felt so high. Like the stuff in the hospital as well. And yeah, I think episode 6 might be my favorite of the season. And like, I mean, at some point I probably will rank my favorite episodes, but I think episode 6 might go into a top 10 for me personally. I think it just delivered so much, justified, you know, them keeping Max around and the whole thing. Because, you know, once you got into that plot after like kind of the frustration in volume 1, like I just think everything with Max and Holly I've absolutely loved. And I think someone like Holly is a good example of what the show can do as well, where I think because she's got that connection to Nancy and to Mike and to Karen, and like she's vulnerable, and even going into the finale, she's still vulnerable. But like the fact that Max is a main character and she's linked to Holly all season or most of the season, I think that really helps us like really invest in Holly. And I think she's been a bit of a breakout this season as well. Like the actress, I think, has done a really good job, and I think I've really gotten into the character as well.
Yeah, I liked Holly. I didn't love the character because I feel like she is kind of just a bit bland for me. I definitely enjoyed Derek more.
Oh no!
I know. I didn't think I was going to. I like their interactions together. But yeah, I mean, obviously, I don't think a character like Derek could carry a show like Holly could. But I think that if they do a spinoff with the kids, I'd love to see them, you know, interact together. But yeah, like I do think she's a very good actress and she did a great job. So I just feel like most of what they gave her, because Holly hasn't really been developed at all until this, is just plot stuff. You know, like we don't really know anything about her other than she's a young girl that was thrown into this scenario.
Some people have like been griping about the fact that they recast the actress, about the fact that we haven't seen the character properly since really season 1, you know, because of the whole Christmas tree lights thing. But to me that just seems like a silly complaint, because it's like, what do you expect them to do? I mean, in those early seasons, really the actress was too young to really make her a character. And you know, it happens all the time that people recast, like when the character gets a bit older for whatever reason, and clearly the actress they've got is like very capable. So I just don't get that complaint. It just seems like a silly complaint to me.
Yeah, I mean, I don't mind that they didn't develop her up until this season because all the things that you said. I also don't mind the recasting, and you know, I don't mind any of that. But I just feel like, you know, they spent a lot in the first couple episodes, just kind of, I don't know. I just feel like that was the time to develop her a little bit more before she gets kidnapped. Even if it was just one episode, or even just a couple extra scenes of her, like, you know. doing something other than, being groomed.
The cave, where suddenly the cave didn't seem to be a safe place anymore. Mm-hmm. And I think Max was like saying to Henry, well, I think you're bluffing. And Holly was like, well, we can't really take that chance. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I think stuff like that, because Max even says it later in the speech, says, you're a big reason why I'm going home now. So I think the fact that Holly used her initiative and wasn't afraid to go against Max's argument there.
Yeah.
And that was stuff like that, you see her being quite proactive.
Yeah, I mean, she's a good leader, and I feel like Holly the heroic and that little scene between her and Mike, she really lived up to that. I enjoyed her being brave and all that. But like I said, I would have liked to have seen something from before. Like if she was an artist, maybe she used that to, how they use D&D to kind of explain how the boys are more familiar with this world than anyone else. And they kind of use their D&D to solve problems in the real world. I would have liked to have seen something like that with Holly. She wasn't into D&D yet, but some skill beforehand, or, if she could have been an artist, she could have been a Girl Scout. She could have, especially Girl Scout would have been good if she knew how to do something from Girl Scouts that led to them finding the cave instead of, well, I'm just going to use this viewfinder. It kind of reminded me of the Star Wars scene where they have that sword or something and they use it to find that location. When I saw that, I was like, I've seen this before, and it felt a little contrived to me. I just would have liked a little bit more backstory with her to show a special skill that she had or some background knowledge that Max didn't have. Because there was another part of me too that was like, come on, Max, you could have explored a little better. You've been here for years. And I was like, it's hard for me to believe, but it was okay. At the time, I didn't really think too much about it. It was only afterwards I was like, yeah. And now that we're talking about Holly in particular, for me, she was just, she played her role well. I wouldn't mind seeing her in a spinoff, or even if she was the main focus, as long as there was a more interesting character or something else, some other hook. I think the actress is very good. I just feel like she was kind of there to move the plot along.
We mentioned it in our stream, but the Wrinkle in Time stuff. So that was a little bit because that's dipping into her.
Oh, that would have been so. Oh, sorry. What do you mean?
Well, no, that's just dipping into her book knowledge, but yeah. I think you're thinking maybe before her plot kicks in and she gets, maybe we could add a small scene showing a little bit of her interest.
Yeah, that comes back later. Also, now you mentioned that, I was one of the people that bought into the time travel theory, and I was kind of bummed they didn't do anything with that. I guess Wrinkle in Time had some kind of theme or something that came up. I haven't read it, so I don't know, but I remember thinking that that maybe time travel would come up, and her or Mike or somebody that had read it would use that as, again, as a reference to solving the real life problem. That's kind of a bummer that didn't really go anywhere.
But you saying that when we did our discussion, but you sort of forgotten, and I know it's not exactly time travel, but they did do that a little bit in season 4, didn't they? With the whole, when it was Nancy's room in the past, and the whole, and I love those scenes.
I wish there was more of that. I really loved season 4, minus the California storyline. I think it's, I don't know. I love all the seasons, but I think that was fantastic. And
favorites.
They're all good.
They're all good. Absolutely.
Yeah. And I binge the seasons, so sometimes it makes a difference too, because they all kind of blend in together when you do that. But I do kind of wish that they had done something with the time, even if it was just traveling through time, because Vecna went to school with Joyce and Hopper and the Wheelers. That's another thing that I was like, and I read something about there was a play that they did with all those characters, but it's a small play, not a lot of people saw it. I was like, maybe you should have released that on Netflix before the season came out, so we could know why this was being referenced, because that's another thing that felt like it didn't go anywhere.
Probably fair. Like, I think that's one I thought they could have done a bit more with. Like, obviously it was a cool scene and that, and I think, and they did come back to it a bit in episode 6 and that, but like it was because I wasn't sure, to be honest, because someone else I think might have said something similar. I wasn't sure if it's so much he went to school with them rather than it was just the fact that once he became Vecna, he was like lurking around the school waiting for victims. But
I heard the Duffer brothers confirmed that he went to school, even though that ends up being a retcon, I think, because of the time Dr. Brenner took him. But yeah, that was in the play, and apparently they did some experiments, so Joyce and Hopper and all them didn't remember the journey they went on. Yeah, and
someone else. Someone else made that similar point that you just made, and it was. Yeah. I guess I wasn't quite sure because when you go back to season 4, it's a bit hazy how old he was. So I suppose conceivably, if he was like old enough, then there might have been enough time where he was in the institution as a very young boy. And then still came out and had time to kind of like if he was a teenager, for example. But I don't know. I can see that as well.
The Duffer
it doesn't
brothers,
matter really.
They also confirmed that, because another thing too that bothered me afterwards was I was like, well, maybe Joyce and Hopper, because they're not all communicating all the time. There's so much stuff going on. Like maybe they just didn't even recognize Henry as Vecna. A lot of time passed. Maybe they didn't know him by the Henry name. But then the Duffer brothers confirmed. I'm like, they just need to stop talking. Like, just put the show out and just shut up. They confirmed that Joyce and Hopper did find out off screen about Vecna, and that all of that happened off screen. And I'm like, okay, this is Dumbledore's gay all over again. It's like, if you didn't put it in the story, it didn't happen, you know? So,
no, I disagree with that. That's something I flat out disagree. I mean, I think some of these points you are making are valid, but I think as we see when we get to the end of the show, the finale, I think there's always room for a bit of let the audience fill in the blanks. Like, and to me, that stuff, I mean, okay, maybe it's because I didn't think of it so much, but like, to me, that stuff is semantics. Like, there's always reasons you can come up with, like, okay, that might explain it.
I just feel like it would have been easier for them to say they just referred to him by Vecna, so they never realized it was Henry. And they don't even remember Henry because they have a plot reason. They have a plot reason that they could use to say, well, they didn't remember because they had their memories wiped.
We are talking a long time ago now, because obviously these are, I mean, Hopper's at least in his 40s, and obviously, I mean, we know that in the real world, Winona Ryder, I think, is early 60s or whatever she is. Or
oh, God, really? She looks good.
I think so, unless she's she might be 50s, because she was very young when she started acting. It's one of the two. It's either like into her 50s or maybe early. But so you know what I mean? Like, logically, we are talking a long time ago. So I can understand how they might forget.
I feel like every time the Duffer brothers tried to explain something or this is what happened, I'm just like, no, the show wasn't that bad. You don't have to do the whole thing that D&D did with Game of Thrones, where people would ask these questions and they're like, this happened. You know, they're trying to like cover their butts. Like, there's plenty of explanations for stuff like that. Like, I think they're making it worse. Sorry.
I think this is, and it's not something I was necessarily going to bring up, but I know in the last week after the finale and all the controversy, I know they have come out with interviews, and that was my reaction. Is I just think the week after the finale, don't do any interviews. Like, the show's out at that point, and people have to live with it. Like, if people choose not to like it, that's their right. But you've written the ending's out. People can either like it or not, but you know, you're the ones writing the show, and I just feel then And some of it isn't their fault. Some of it is the internet just being nitpicky. But I mean, also, I just think it was a mistake to do an interview the week after the show had finished.
Yeah.
Give it a bit of breathing space, I say.
Yeah, and I definitely think they should wait until the spin-offs are announced. I mean, I know you said that they were going to do one that they did announce, I think.
Well, they've already announced, obviously. Okay. Well, they've announced that animated one, which is coming out this year, which is Tales of 85, which is, it's whatever, fine. That could be. Well, no, just because it's animated in a way. So it's almost like I'm not expecting it to be great or terrible in a way. I think it could be perfectly watchable, but it's like. Well, I'm pretty sure they have confirmed the Nancy spin-off. Like, I'm not 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure they have. And I know there's spin-offs planned, but we'll have to wait and see. I mean, I wasn't sure. Because initially I just assumed that after Stranger Things, the Duffer brothers would have a whole host of projects. So I kind of assumed that if they did spin-offs, it would be other people doing them. But it now seems that the Duffers might have some involvement, at least. So we'll have to see how that all shakes up.
Yeah, I don't know, because I've heard that some of their other projects got pulled, like the Talisman, because people are just really, unhappy.
Explain yourself, Madison. Why do you like Derek, dipshit Derek, more than heroic?
I like his arc. He's horrible. I hated him when he was first introduced, and now he's pretty funny, and he's actually trying to be heroic. The one time he's kind of a coward, it's because, he had this horrifying image of his parents dying and his sister in a horrible way. So that's very understandable and actually kind of makes me like him because he cares about his family, enough to lie and do So, and I liked whenever he flipped off Vecna and told him to suck it. Yeah, he's got some great lines. I feel like if there was a time to dislike him, it was in Volume 1. I feel like he really kind of became an unexpected hero in Volume 2. I liked him. I thought he was good.
I think I said this when we spoke last time, then I did soften on him. And I think it's that thing, once he gets involved in the group and what's going on, and, it's quite funny, wasn't it? I think it's either 5 or 6. I think it's episode 5 when, Holly's gone back into the house because, it's that thing of she has to pretend she's not, doesn't know anything. And that stuff was really fun, like her being sent in as a spy. Because I did love the whole thing with Vecna and the kids. Comedy moments was when Derek was following them and they didn't know it was Derek. It's like, who's following? And he's just laying down, on the ground. That was really good. But,
that was good.
But that's the thing. I think he softens for me once he just naturally goes into the main plot and them using him as bait. One of the most terrifying scenes was when Vecna got him and he blackmailed him into giving up Holly and Max's the way he made his family appear to him. That was really that was scary stuff.
The actor, I can't remember his name, but the one that plays Vecna, he is so chilling in this. He scares me more as Henry grooming the kids than he does Vecna. Because I mean, first of all, I think the makeup and stuff takes away a little bit of his expressions. Obviously, he looks less human, but just he gives me pedo vibes when he's playing that character. He's a great actor. And when he's manipulating these kids and looking at them the way he does and all this stuff, it gives me the chills. So I have no complaints about that whole storyline because I think it's very creepy and well done, and the actor is fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah. No, that was good. That was a great moment. The actress who plays Holly is better than the actor who plays Derek. I'm not really sure he's the best actor, but then again, obviously it's a much smaller part than Holly had, so I guess I would. But yeah, he did come across as a bit one note, but I do agree he got better.
I mean, Steve was kind of one note in season 1. He kind of played the jerk bully. who has that moment of redemption at the end. But like, you know, he's kind of just there as to be the conflict between Jonathan and Nancy. And then in season 2 is when he really, you know, the scene where he gets dumped at the party, you know, and then bonds with Dustin. Like that's when Joe Keery was given material to work with and develop that character. So, I mean, yeah, that role was so small. We don't know what the actor's capable of, or, you know, but the character is one note. But yeah, I mean, that could change if they did a spinoff or something.
Yeah.
I
think overall he serves a purpose.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. Like, I would like to know actually in the comments, people which side you're on, because I think I've seen actually quite a lot of people on the internet like get into his character and say he was, and that's sort of how I feel about Holly. Like, I feel Holly was one of the nice surprises of the season, and like I kind of, like I said, over time I softened on Derek, and I think because he's a bit more of a supporting character where he's not necessarily in it all the time, then I think that's fine. I think he does work, but it's like, yeah, I kind of don't get the internet falling in love with his character at this point. I just think at times he's too annoying, whereas I never really found that with Holly.
Yeah, well, like I said, because Holly's just so there. She's there to develop plot points and move the story along. I do like her, and like I said, if they do a spinoff, I'd love for her to be in it. And to have, you know, more of her interests, more of her personality. And yeah, I mean, Derek's kind of one note. He's kind of just there for comedy and stuff, but I think he did a really good job with that role. Kind of like Murray. You know, Murray's pretty one note. We don't know anything about him. He's a mystery. But other than his kung fu, or whatever it was. But awesome. That character works for the purpose. And that's how I feel about Derek. I don't love him the way I loved Eddie. You know, Eddie was developed so well. And I was so sad whenever he died. So
for one season,
yeah. So I don't think of Derek the same way, but I think that of him as Murray. Like, he's a great character. That's like a good background comedy relief character. So
I mean, it really sucks. It's a big complaint with the finale that they didn't kill off Murray. I mean, I'm
so glad they didn't. I was thinking that too. I was like, Murray doesn't really have any major characters that'll be devastated. I was like, he would be the perfect one to kill. I'm like, please don't kill Murray. I love Murray. He's so funny.
No, but it seems like we were on similar wavelengths, because like that whole thing with him, it did feel like they were setting him up for like a sacrifice.
The sacrifice.
I do love. I'm just teasing.
I know.
I do love Murray. He's again one of those surprise characters. Like he was entertaining early on, but if you said he would become a regular on the show and just constantly be really entertaining, like you would have, because he just seemed like literally he filled his purpose early on, and I can't really see much beyond him just being the paranoid UFO nut, basically.
Yeah. He's kind of like Saul Goodman. I feel like he works. I mean, I love Better Call Saul, but he worked so great in Breaking Bad as the comedy character who, you know, he occasionally moved the plot along and did stuff, but he didn't have like his own storyline other than being connected to Jesse and Walt. But then when he gets his own show, obviously the whole character has to change to make that work. And that's what would happen with Murray if they made him a much bigger role. Is they'd have to give him his own stories. They'd have to give him some serious moments. He couldn't always just be this one note character if he was, you know, a bigger character. So
like he's like in recent seasons, because even Rachel, who isn't like a massive Murray fan, like she's grown to like him more in later seasons, but in the early seasons she didn't really like him. Like even she got into that stuff in season 4 with like Joyce and the stuff on the aeroplane. I do have one scene this season with Murray that I didn't really like, and it's the stuff, you know, back in Volume 1, where he's being a little bit pervy with about Nancy and Jonathan not having sex yet.
Oh, yeah.
I thought, you're supposed to be a good guy, Murray. This is crossing the line. And I think in the end it didn't matter because Nancy put them in the place with like the gun and that. But I thought, Yeah, this is a bit too pervy, like encouraging,
Yeah.
Surely they've had sex because they had sex back in season 2. But I think he just means recently, doesn't he?
Yeah, I
I'm
think
assuming
so.
that's what I mean. It's like, yeah, you got them together in season 2. Like, how do you not know? Him as Santa Claus was great as well.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
That was, and it's just so perfect the way they use him as like the guy smuggling supplies in. Like that just makes sense for me. I agree. Then episode 5 was the weakest of the 3. Like still pretty solid, but like probably was the weakest. And like we both agree on episode 6, it was pretty amazing.
Yeah.
And like there was a lot of good things in episode 7 as well.
I think 5 was, like I said, it was like the connecting point between volume 1 and 2. I think it had the best cliffhanger, though.
Okay.
I think if this had been a week-to-week show, with Nancy shooting the thing and Dustin being like, no, if this was a week-to-week show, that would have just, like, everybody like, oh my God, what's going to happen? I'm so glad I could watch the next one and didn't have to wait. So I think 5 had the best cliffhanger, and it was a good episode where everything was building up to something really massive, and it led to those great scenes in episode 6. So, yeah, I think it was good.
All right, so before we get on to the bridge, there is a couple of big things we haven't talked about. Well, first of all, I do have another question about episode 6. So I absolutely loved the stuff at the hospital. I loved Lucas, like carrying Max and that into the elevator and that whole thing. I just wasn't sure about the thing with Karen. Like, I wasn't quite sure. Because I love that moment, like that was badass. But like, I wasn't sure if she came out of her coma because of something they did, like with the whole hive mind, or if it's just then she just happened to come out of her coma around that time. Because obviously they make this point. I think it's Robin makes the point then all of Vecna's victims are actually in trances. So like Max isn't in a trance. She's not in a coma. She's in a trance. So that's when they come up with the theory. Then if you revive one, if you bring one out, then they all come out. But technically Karen wasn't one of his victims. Like that was it. So I wasn't quite sure whether it was.
Oh, sorry.
Well, I guess my question is it like a coincidence that she happened to like recover around that time, or is it something to do with what they were doing?
I think Mrs. Wheeler woke up before then because they asked her about Henry, like in volume 1. Mike and Nancy snuck into her room and asked her about Mr. What's-It, and that's when she told him it was Henry. So she wasn't in a coma.
No, of course.
Yeah.
It was good old the husband's name, Ted. Yeah, he was.
Ted was the one in the coma. Yeah.
No, it's true. I mean that's a good point. I thought of that, but I guess just because she was off screen for a while, I guess I assumed then she was a bit in and out.
Yeah. I mean, I agree that she wasn't in a coma, but she was very weak. Like what I assumed was just that, like, because she heard the announcement that Robin had made about the dangers and stuff. I think that's what got her ass out of bed. And I really thought at that point, I was like, oh, is she going to die? Because she pushed herself and all that to save them. I was like, is she actually going to be the sacrifice? And then it's like, no, she's just got badass mom immunity because they thought it would be another really cool scene. And it was. I'm not going to lie, even though I was like, okay, This is bullshit. She should not be able to get out of bed. She should be too weak. I'm so sure she dragged herself all the way to the basement to save them. And she was, aware enough to come up with that plan. But at the same time, I was like, all right, let's just say it was mom adrenaline.
Yeah.
It's just mom adrenaline. And, she's just very smart. We just always underestimated her.
Comes to that. Like, I think if it's something I'm not that keen on anyway, like I will be more happy to nitpick and but when it leads to such a great scene as that, like I don't give a shit. It's like the way people pick holes in like the stuff with Karen in episode 2. Oh, like she injured the Demogorgon with like a bottle. It's like I don't give a shit. It's a cool moment. Like the point of the scene is it's Karen stepping up and like defending her kid, and there's stakes on it. You know, it's a great scene. So,
and she doesn't kill the Demogorgon. She just wounds it, and then it runs off with Holly. So, like, if she'd killed it with the wine bottle, I agree. I'd be like, it was cool, but it's stupid.
Yeah,
but it was fine because it still lived and it still got out of there. So I was okay with it. And like, it's more, if you've heard of rule of cool, right? So that's kind of what this is. Yeah, this is just, it's rule of cool. It was cool to see her throw the thing in the washing machine and all that. And yeah, and it was cool to see her have another badass moment. So I was okay with it. And, you know, I didn't feel like it was that just hard to believe. Because, you know, people do extraordinary things when under those kinds of adrenaline-inducing conditions. I would have liked to have seen her a little bit more, like, out of it afterwards, instead of just standing there like a badass and seeming totally fine. I would have liked after that moment for her to, like, lean against the... But it was okay. It was fine. That's not a big deal. It was a cool moment.
Yeah, and once again, Karen is, again, one of those nice surprises where I think... Once again, she's had a really good season, really, just based on those two scenes, really.
Yeah.
No, like, that was... Yeah, that's definitely one of those cases where, like... I think sometimes people have to remember Stranger Things is a show about, like, teenagers basically saving the world. And, you know, it's like, in reality, probably most teenagers would just stay home and let the government get on with trying to save the world. And like, but then
they'll do a good job.
Yeah, well, absolutely, but you know, then it just wouldn't be as fun to watch, and you know, it's like, and there's definitely relatable things on their journey and things, but you know, it's like, it's that tradition of like going back to the 80s with the Goonies and that. Like, the Goonies would be a really dull movie if they just decided not to go off and pursue the buried treasure, you know, if they just sat at home, you know, like mucking around, you wouldn't have a movie. So I think people need to bear that in mind sometimes, you know. Like, some nitpicks are okay, you know, but I think when it comes to that scene, no, it's a great character moment for Karen, and it was a great like set piece, basically. So I'm fine with it.
Yeah, me too.
And the other thing I want to talk about, because this is a scene which I never was really surprising, a scene that actually made me care more about Nancy and Jonathan, but their scene in, I think that's episode 6 as well, isn't it? It's either like basically the breakup scene, which which confused me, because when I was watching it, I thought, hey, did they break up or not? And then I was like I was reading the thing on Wiki, and Wiki saying, yeah, they broke up, like they were honest with it. But
I didn't care for that scene. I'm not even a Jonathan Nancy shipper. I would have preferred her with Steve, but
neither am I. But
I felt it like it was weird. I feel like it was that kind of moment where and the way it was, I hate when you play the Clash. I hate, like, it's all these little silly things. So I thought, okay, but they're going to say, I hate that, but I love you, or something, you know, like, it felt like a getting back together, you know, getting over your differences. You confess and then you fall back in love. Or you realize how much you care about that person. It's weird to be in a life or death situation and be like, yeah, I don't really love you after all.
Well,
everything about that was weird. I feel like
no, I don't think it's weird. Like, I think it makes perfect sense. I think if you're convinced you're gonna die, you know, in a way, that's your last opportunity to like have that confessional like conversation, and like it's a really cathartic moment. And like, I think in my notes, I just described it as the most romantic breakup scene. And again, I think it's credit to these writers, because for so long I haven't been invested in that relationship since about like season 2 maybe. And but you know, like, they made me care in that scene. Like, I just thought it was so beautifully written, and and quite well acted as well. I think that's
Yeah.
where maybe you could see the natural chemistry, because they are a real life couple. And and I just loved how intimate the scene was, and like it worked for me. Like it just got to me.
It worked as a romance scene for me. It didn't work as a breakup. And that's another thing too. I feel like if you really felt like you didn't want to be with someone, you'd be like, I don't know, maybe it's because they're so young. It's been so long since I've been that young, and they're confused about, you know, especially Nancy, because she wants to go off and do all this stuff, and she might feel like Jonathan would be dragging her down. I don't know, but I don't know. I felt like it was too romantic for a breakup scene, and I feel like the high stakes kind of thing just, it's a weird time to realize you don't care about someone. Usually it's the opposite. And that's another thing too. They said they were trauma bonded. I'm like, this is more trauma. So you guys should be bonding if that's truly what keeps y'all together. I would have preferred if after they survived, then they came to that realization. Or something.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe.
No, I can see that. Like I just think dramatically it kind of works, and I think there is something true to life about. I mean, obviously it sounds like the stuff of fiction in many ways. You're right on a logical level. You're right. I think when you think you're going to die or something, like that's the last thing on your mind. Like you would, if you get out of it. You're right, you would. But I think for what the scene is, though, it just works, and I think it works as like, well, we may never have this opportunity, because in a way it's not so much about them breaking up. I think it's just about finally having that confessional, like conversation.
Yeah, maybe I would have liked it more if one of them had been more like, we should break up, and the other, like if Jonathan had proposed and Nancy had then been like, no, and here's why, because I love you enough to let you go, or something. Maybe it was the dialogue. I don't know. Something about it, though, just felt a bit off to me. And then he brings the ring out, and I'm just like, if you're breaking up with someone, why do you bring that? Just makes everything worse. I don't know. But
I mean, maybe the ring wasn't necessary. I mean, we know then the reason it came out partly was because when it dropped down and hit the floor, I think.
It had a plot reason,
but I think it's just part of that whole confessional thing again. You know, then he'd had that for so long.
Yeah, and then the way Jonathan talks about her, like he's still in love with her, and then he saves Steve, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I still hate you." It's like, well, why do you hate him if you gave up Nancy? I think that it would have made more sense to me if Jonathan had still been in it and Nancy was like, no, we both need to grow up and be our own people, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah. Is that the conversation in the finale with Steve?
Yeah, in the finale.
Okay, well, again, we can get to that, but like, I quite like that conversation though.
I like the conversation.
Yeah, the thing is, they're joking, aren't they? Like, they're not literally, like, they're at a place now. Okay, they're still not bosom.
Are they joking? Because I didn't think so.
Well, it's tongue in cheek. I think it is a little tongue in cheek, because I think they're obviously in a better place than they were earlier in the season.
Yeah.
So, well, let's just say there's a little bit of truth and a little bit of. It's a bit like that idea of behind every joke, there's a little bit of truth, but like it's sort of like, you know, it was done in an ironic way, and I think it's kind of we're going to try and get on a little bit more from now on conversation.
I said, I think I just liked it better if Jonathan was still kind of in it and she was breaking up with him. But, because like the foreheads touching and all that, like all of that was just so, I don't know. Maybe I've never had a good breakup, but that just feels like there's still so much love there, and I don't know. But I did like. Oh, go ahead.
Oh no, I was just going to say I think I did like, from a direction point, the intimacy of the scene, and I think the use of color with it being that blue room, and I mean, I think arguably if it's not in many ways a particularly subtle scene, because in some ways, because like the fact that the room is crumbling, it's a little bit like, okay, this is their relationship sort of falling down a little bit, so that's a little bit clunky. that stuff maybe. But the visual of the room crumbling was really cool.
Yeah. And I did like the ring falling on and that's how they find out that it stopped. That was cool. I did like that. Yeah. So.
Oh, fair enough. Damn you, Madison! You've made me question if that scene is actually any good now.
I think it's still good. I just said I think I would have tweaked the dialogue or made it one-sided. I think if it's one-sided, it would have been more heartbreaking if Jonathan was still in love with her and she was like, I was going to break up with you, but, since we're together, we're going to die together. And then they live. And then I think that would have made the ring falling just feel like, oh, that hurts because they're going to live. Yay. But now Jonathan has to be brokenhearted. I think that would have worked better for me. It's still an effective scene though. And like you said, you can see the real life chemistry. I mean, that's a problem too. They haven't really had chemistry for a couple seasons and now they have it and now they're breaking up, but it's okay. Like, I don't hate it. I agree. Because when I'd heard about them breaking up, that was one of the big spoilers I heard before I saw it. I was like, thanks a lot. Was that they broke up and that people were confused. And I was like, how do you get confused? Like, what? Y'all are just dumb. And then I watched it and I was like, yeah, I see why people were confused.
Yeah,
they were breaking up.
I was confused. Yeah. I thought it was like a heart-to-heart and it was actually what's bringing them back together. But
even knowing what I knew going into it, I was still confused. I was like, this is really a breakup scene? I was like, this is crazy. This doesn't feel like that. So I was like, maybe I misunderstood. Like, no, they were really breaking up.
You wanted them punching each other.
I wanted them to wrestle. Yeah. I hate you so much. No, I just wasn't expecting the forehead touching and all of the romantic stuff. I was like, I see why people are confused. That was a lot of mixed signals.
Yeah, literally, because I was looking at the thing on Wiki and like they describe it as a breakup, and I'm like, was it? Okay. I didn't think it was. But I think Nancy ending the show as an independent woman is the right choice. I disagree with you saying she should have ended up with Steve. I think
I have mixed feelings because I liked her with Steve, especially since in season 4 I really kind of like them together. So I don't know. I feel like if they're going to do a spinoff, though, they'll probably get her together with one of them or someone new.
Maybe.
But it does kind of make sense since they're teenagers that are
exactly
20s. Yeah, the stuff they broke up over was dumb. Like, oh, I hate your music, and oh, I don't like whatever. I don't like your movie taste or something.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that's a bit literal. I don't think that's the reason they broke up. I think it's the confessional moment where they're being honest. I think it's almost that thing, like, in a way, to some people, that stuff doesn't really matter. Like, it's a compromise. Like, if she doesn't like the Clash, you just, if you love the person, you compromise. But I think it's just that idea of when there's so many little things like that. Because I did think he was a little bit harsh with, like, oh, I don't like reading your essays or articles. That was a bit, rough, Jonathan. Like, it's not. I think Rachel brought up this point. Like, it's not quite as parable as like music tastes, because that's just natural. People have different music tastes or different film tastes. But yeah. So when he said that, I was a bit like, oh, that's a bit harsh. Come on.
Yeah. Well, when he said, you don't want my actual feedback, you just want me to hear you say it's good. And she's like, but they are good. I was like, that's all relationships, Jonathan. You're going to find that out in about 10 years. That's how most people are, is they don't actually want your feedback. They just want, validation. So I'm like, interesting. He's going to be very surprised in his next couple relationships that he has not learned that that's normal.
Well, I will say, I mean, I'm definitely better than Jonathan with that, but like, I will say it's something which I've had to work on, like accepting constructive criticism. I'll say that. Episode 7, the bridge, emotional with all the Max like saying reuniting with people. I thought that was all.
Yeah,
I particularly loved the exchange with Mike. Like, took you long enough.
Yeah.
Screw you, Reela.
Yeah,
that was great, because that goes back to their rivalry a little bit in the past. And That was fun. It's on that episode.
Yeah, I've got a few. I really liked Holly waking up with the tentacle in her mouth. It reminded me of Neo waking up from the Matrix. That was the vibe I got, and I thought that was very cool. I mean, obviously it's very visually different, but just that whole waking up and oh my god, where am I, and all that stuff, and Vecna's using them. So I thought that was cool. And then Holly falling was also very cool. For a second, I was like, are they really going to make this girl go splat? And I was like, no, they're not going to do that. This is things. But it was very cool visual effects.
Yeah, I like that.
I loved Robin's line that she says twice about Holly and then later Dustin when somebody says they're under plates. And then Robin's like, but not pancaked.
Yeah.
That was one of my favorite lines that episode. It was so funny. Yeah, that was good. And I loved the whole making a plan scene with Steve and the Slinky and Operation Beanstalk, and all the ideas they were running past each other. That was a great scene. That is absolutely the essence of the show, I think, is the people coming together, or groups coming together. Usually they use D&D. In this case, they used a Slinky, which is also very 80s, to kind of explain what's happening, what plan they're going to make, how they're going to execute it. It reminds me so much of like the essence of the show, basically. And yeah, I loved it. I love that it was Steve too, because usually it's somebody else in the group. So I love that he came up with kind of like the master plan or the framework for the master plan that ended up saving them. I just thought that was a fun scene, watching them come up with it.
I do like that stuff with them going back and forth, and because initially Joyce had an idea, which it's fun to see her have an idea, even though it sort of made no sense, but she's at least trying. And we've said there's some fun stuff with Joyce this season, trying to be the parental figure, but also because it's obviously a big moment as well. Oh yeah, it's in that. I think it's in that. No, it might be episode 6, but one of my favourite scenes of the season is that scene with her and Hopper when Joyce is blaming herself for letting Will go back in.
Yeah.
Like, because earlier on in the season, she's been very cautious, and it's like, no, I'm not putting you at risk again. And like the one moment, she does it, like he gets put in danger, and I just love the way Hopper comforts her. Like, I love that line about you'll soon learn as a parent, like every plan you make is the wrong plan, and like
that was a great scene.
Yeah, it's not your fault, and he holds her hand. That was a great scene.
That was awesome. I loved that moment between them. The Will coming out scene, which was very controversial. Some people were like, "Oh, we didn't need this. This is wokeism." Blah blah blah. I liked it, but I do think it went on a little bit long, especially with the pacing. Because I think if it had happened before they came up with the plan or something, I was ready to see them start enacting the plan. And now we've got this very long scene where Will's coming out, and he kind of keeps talking and going on. And I understood. I'm glad that they connected it to Vecna, and it wasn't just like, I have to get this off my chest kind of thing. It was, Vecna's been using my fear to control me. I don't think we saw enough of that, but I do like they at least explained an in-story reason why he's doing it. I thought it was executed well. I think that the actor did a great job.
I agree.
I think that all of them did a good job with the acting. I just think the timing was a little off, where it was placed in the episode and how long it was. But overall, I liked it. There's a couple things I wrote, though. First of all, where was Hopper? Okay, I know that they were all doing stuff, but I was just like, well, Hopper's back in the same world. He was in that same room not that long ago. And I was like, wouldn't Hopper be one of the people that would be pulled into that more than Murray, who was in that scene, and a few other people? I was it feels like Hopper should have been there to like pat him on the back, and especially because he kind of, I know we're going to get to the finale, but he kind of becomes Will's new dad. So that just felt like they should have been in that. He should have been there.
Yeah, that's funny. Like, I didn't notice him not being in the scene. Like, and I think because obviously it's quite a big group in that scene, right? But I guess I just assumed he wasn't in the scene. Like, but you're sure he wasn't? Okay.
I'm pretty sure he wasn't. And,
I might have to rewatch it and check, because that is funny. Like, it's a random thing just to leave him out rather than, as you said, someone like Murray, because pretty much everyone else is there.
Yeah, and I wrote another one too. Nancy was there, but she doesn't hug Will. Almost everyone else hugs him in that big group hug, and she's just standing there next to Max, which Max I understand, you know. But like, I'm like, is Nancy? I wrote Nancy homophobic ? Like, why is she not getting in on that hug? That is her brother's best friend. I was like, that's weird. I'm joking, but that's weird.
No, I know,
they didn't put her in that scene. Like, I know it was probably hard to get everybody in that shot, but you know, like, that's an important.
It's probably a timing thing, and you know, maybe if she hasn't, because she's a different age group to Will. Like, maybe if she hasn't had so much. It's almost like maybe she wanted to leave that to Jonathan as his brother. Well,
Robin was there, and
but Robin and Will had a shared thing this season.
And Matt. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Yeah, that's true. But Max, who has even less of a relationship with Will, was like, "Just imagine I'm hugging you from over here." I was like, "This is just weird." Nancy's the only one that's just standing there, not saying or doing anything. I was like, "This is."
I don't know. Like, other people have said this. Like, like, because it was one of Rachel's complaints that like things aren't filled in, and like, whereas like these dynamics come from, like with like, because she mentioned Robin and Will, and she said she liked their scenes, but like that sort of, we haven't seen much between them.
Not hugging at all, not saying anything. Like, that was weird.
I think that
why put her in the scene? Like, just you can leave her out. Like, maybe he only wanted to tell everybody that he was really close to. Like, it was, I don't know.
Well, he didn't hug Murray though, did he?
No, and I wrote that too.
Then again, Murray isn't a hugger, I don't think. Like,
I know, but I think it would have been so funny if Murray had ran up to them and been, because everybody's saying, "You'll never lose me, you'll never lose me." If Murray had ran up and been like, "You'll never lose me," and then hugged a bunch of them, that would have been so funny. And then they could have had Will go, "Who are you again?"
Yeah. No, it's... No, that's true. That's true.
Yeah.
Little bit of levity, because you need a bit of levity in a scene like that.
I think that was I wrote in big capital letters, that's one of the biggest missed opportunities this season. I just think that would have been so funny. I was like, man, Murray's right there. Like, do that. It would be so great. But yeah, overall, I thought the scene had a narrative purpose. They gave it one at the end.
Yeah.
It was well acted. The dialogue was good. The only complaint was the timing and just kind of how long it was. But it was good. It was good.
Okay. No, I think that's about where I am on the scene. Like, I do like there's a logic to then he chose that time of it. Because it was a funny experience watching the episode, because I knew that scene was in that episode. And it got so close to the end of the episode, like I was starting to question myself, like, is the scene really in the episode or not? And then eventually I could see, okay, this is going to be the moment. And yeah, I think the whole logic with what he said about Vecna knowing his secrets, you know, I think that works for that sort of theme, what they were going for. Like, it works as a thing to do with, like, as I was saying earlier, like, coming out is a big thing for like a gay person. And like, you should be able to choose, and if you've got like this other person who knows, and someone, you know, who isn't in your friendship group, you want to pick the moment to come out to them. What do you think about, like, obviously we know there's a lot of divided opinions on the Will storyline and him coming out. Like, we won't really cover that so much, but what do you think about the talk online about like queer baiting and about like shippers of Mike and Will? Like, what do you think about all that stuff?
I mean, I was fine with them having the Will storyline this season because, like I said, they connected it to the Vecna. I wish they'd done just a little bit more of Vecna because they do have a couple scenes, but I wish they'd done a little bit more of Vecna using that fear to like
fair.
kick him out of his head or something to show that Will's not reaching his full power because of that fear. I wish they'd just done a little bit more, but like overall, I think everything else is okay. I love the scenes between him and Robin. I felt like that was a really good choice to have them bond over, you know, feeling like outsiders, especially in the 80s, you know, all that homophobia, which we still have, but you know, like it was really
well,
the AIDS crisis. Yeah.
As the IMDb rating for that episode proves. The episode before has like an 8.1. That episode has like a 5.6. Oh,
that's
sad. So it's messed up. I mean, for context, that's even lower than a certain season 2 episode. I mean,
yeah. That's a shame because, yeah, I feel like overall that was a pretty strong episode. So the only reason I can think of why it's that low is the homophobia. And like I said, some people might have some legitimate thoughts, like that scene went too long, or it wasn't like in the timing. It kind of slowed the pacing down because, you know, Will was making it more about him instead of the I have to tell you this to save the world kind of thing. So it might be that, but I feel like most people that are rating it that low are probably homophobic, and that's sad. That it bothers people that much, you know, that's a shame.
Yeah, no, when it's such a big drop from the last episode, because definitely episode 6 was a stronger episode. Like we've both really praised that one, but there's no way it's such a big drop, you know. I could understand it dropping to a 7 or something like that, but there's no way. And there's no way it's worse
than that season 2 episode.
No, there's no way, people. There's a lot of good stuff in the bridge. Russ Schrupp does a great job in that scene because, you know, overall, I think he has been one of the weaker actors on the show, like from the main cast, because I do think he's a bit more limited than some of the others. Like, he's probably got better over time as he's, like, matured, but, like, yeah, I think he does a great job in the scene because I think the way he hesitates and kind of stumbles over his words, other people have said that feels quite natural.
Yeah, it's definitely one of his best scenes in the show, acting wise, and one of his most natural. Because there's a few times where even whenever I feel like, okay, he's acting in the way that I've seen a lot of people in this kind of scene acting, like the one in the finale where he's like, I'm not afraid anymore, and some of the other lines, that are a little cheeseball, but I do feel like that's probably the way that line was supposed to be delivered, so I don't hold that against the actor. I'm like, that's just how that kind of line is supposed to be delivered. So, like, part of it is he just hasn't had that much material, I think, to show his more natural acting. But he did a great job. So I agree with you. I think he's gotten better. And he was great in that scene. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think arguably this might be his best season just because he's got so much focus this season. Like, obviously, over time, because of the events of season 1, he did become a tough character to write for.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen anything in this Will and Mike ship? Like, do you think the show has ever implied a ship between those two? Because I don't personally.
I don't, because it's been one-sided. I don't like the queer baiting allegations because I feel like there are some shows that have done that, and even then, I feel like sometimes things relationships are complicated and there's a reason why it wouldn't work out or why one character wouldn't want that. But this feels totally one-sided. Like in season 4, when Will wants Mike is thinking about Elle. He tells her that he loves her in season 4. Like, it's felt very one-sided. And I'm really surprised people thought they were going to end up together. Because, like, they were best friends, but Mike is very clearly friend-zoned Will. And I never felt like they had that kind of chemistry, nor do I think Mike has ever shown any signs of being interested in Will. So I just don't think that it's fair to say that because it's always been portrayed as one-sided. So Yeah, I don't think that that's a fair allegation. Just because you have one character that's gay that has a crush on somebody, that doesn't mean you need to, that they're necessarily going to be end game, or that that's even going to be explored. So, yeah,
Yeah,
I don't
no.
think it was queer baiting.
No, neither do I. That's pretty much spot on for what I was going to say, because I think it's either season 3 or 2. I think it was it 3? Mike has that line about like
You
it's
don't
not.
like girls. Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's 3,
It's
isn't
not
it?
my fault you don't like girls. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think it's interesting thinking about some of the characters who might have known, and you're assuming because Mike and Will are best friends, then Mike would have known for quite a while. Like that line does imply that even back then. And like I said, I think people like Jonathan obviously knew because of that scene in season 4. I think Robin figured it out because of all the questions he was asking, so certain people. I would be interested if Joyce would have known, like if she would have cottoned on at some point, but there's no way of knowing really. Sometimes, when you're someone's mother, you don't see these things,
Yeah.
So, but yeah. No, I agree. There's complaints with the scene, but overall, I think it was well handled.
I got to go to the bathroom before we get to the finale because I drank a whole thing of coffees.
Okay.
Yeah. He got poop stuck in his butt. Please put this in the final recording.
As you do. Oh, okay.
He had poop stuck in his butt.
More poop talk.
And I was trying to get it myself, and I thought it was still stuck, and I couldn't see it because he keeps pushing his tail down because he had an anal gland problem. Well, he doesn't like us going near his butt anyways, but he had an anal gland problem a couple weeks ago.
Okay.
And so he's like especially sensitive about us looking at his butt, and I kept saying, "Let me see your butt. Let me see your butt."
No, okay.
And he's just like, "No."
Well, thanks. Yeah. No. Well, I'm glad he's okay. I mean, I'm sure that'll have the viewers packing in Madison.
So I had to bring my mom down, and then she couldn't find her glasses, so we had to work together to
it was the whole thing.
It was a whole thing. Yeah.
It sounds like it, yeah.
There was some hair. I think he ate some hair off the carpet, and that's part of the problem. So it was a whole thing, like you said. So yeah. And I'm sure that'll definitely excite
that could make a sitcom episode without doubt.
Dogs are so fun.
This is becoming a regular thing with us, like because of the long walk discussion and the poop. This is Poop Talk Part 2. The sequel.
The sequel, yeah.
I'll leave it in. You can trust me. I was definitely going to cut it out, but screw it. I'm going to leave it in now.
Just cut the long wait out, and I'll come back and be like, I'm so sorry I was gone. And
I'll just cut some of the more serious Stranger Things talk out. leave some aside.
Exactly. The whole anytime we mention Vecna, we'll just take that out. Definitely keep this.
Replace it with the poop talk. Yeah. Brilliant. Excellent scene, actually, which we haven't mentioned. And I think it's one of my favourite Elle moments this season. It's, when she lifts up the big patch of earth so that they can go into the upside down. Like, literally lifts it above her head like she's a weightlifter. And it's like, it's so satisfying because it's like this massive rectangle, like, patch of earth. And I love the visual. It's so badass. Like, that's... Sometimes I'm easily pleased, Madison, but there's something about how tangible it was. Like you're removing a puzzle piece, like a little bit like when Holly was, before she went through the thing and all that. And I can imagine some nitpickers would be, well, why hasn't Elle done that before? And it's like, I don't care. It just again that fits the Karen thing. It's just the cool
rule of cool, yeah.
Rule of cool. Like, I can say it would never have. It's a natural time to do it because they want to find, and also the weather experiment was cool as well to locate Justin.
Yeah.
So that was a nice way to like get Mr. Clark a little bit of like a supporting role in the season.
Yeah, I was glad they brought him back. It was cool to bring back someone that was so important in the earlier seasons, and it kind of made that feel full circle. So that was cool. And I loved that scene with him and Erica where she cusses and then he's like, language, and then she's like, I think the situation calls for curse words, and then he starts cursing. Really that was cute. That was cute. Yeah.
Yeah, like Erica once again has stolen some really great lines this season and popping up here and there, stealing scenes, and I do I don't know if I mentioned it last time, but I do like that she's in a way come full circle, and now she is like a fully fledged nerd, and she's kind of repeating, because that was the whole thing in season 3. She was denying to Dustin that I'm not a nerd, and now. We see all these years later she is, so I love it. That's great. Yeah,
that is great.
Okay, so let's get into the finale, and the finale, which was just over 2 hours long, we can definitely talk about in quite a logical way, because you've got everything with the final battle, all these different things going on. Obviously Holly and the other kids at the start of the episode are all trapped in these cocoon style things, which looks really cool. And you get the whole 11 and Callie and their plan and going into the Upside Down and all the different stuff. So you get all that stuff, and then naturally you get one big epilogue at the end. Do have some complaints about the finale, so if you want to start talking about that.
Yeah, I felt like the finale was a mixed bag, because I have a few big complaints in terms of just things that I felt off to me. And luckily I watched this so long after it came out, because I just watched it I think last week, that I was not a part of, what was it, Conspiracy Gate or whatever, where they thought there was an episode afterwards, because that epilogue felt Conformity Gate, yes, thank you. Conspiracy, it was a conspiracy, yes.
Well, there you go.
So yeah, I felt like that epilogue.
Netflix were we're not giving them any more money,
Well, I guess maybe that secret episode was part of why the budget was so large, but no, unfortunately it wasn't, because I did feel my problem. Okay, so the first problem is the military would not have just let them all go. People are saying, oh, but it was a black ops military, and that's why they didn't arrest them, because they didn't want to explain why they were there. And I'm like, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is they would have killed them all. And that was my problem, because they were willing to kill Hopper and all of them earlier in the show, while they're trying to get Elle. So it's why would they not kill all the witnesses? I understand it's not that kind of show, but in real life. So it creates this huge logic problem for me, because I'm of all the things that happen in the finale, other than maybe Hopper's reaction afterwards, that was my biggest complaint. They would not have let them go, especially because they said there was an earthquake and that's why all those people died. I'm yeah, they would have killed all of them and blamed it on the earthquake. That's. I mean, what's her name?
Okay.
Linda Hamilton's character is evil as fuck, and everybody's just listening to her. It was just the hardest part for me to get past, is it's 18 months later, and I'm what happened with the military? The whole reason that, okay.
Okay. No, this is interesting, because I never thought about that. And again, maybe it's just one of these things where in this kind of show, I don't to me, that's a bit too boiling it down to basic logic. I kind of don't care, because in a way the military serve their purpose in the plot. And I think my argument against that would be then the logic that we've seen set up in the show, which obviously Dr. K is the successor to Branagh, that's sort of her whole thing. Because even though they're quite different characters, she does have some of his same ideals in many ways. The stuff about being very patriotic, and the stuff about how it's always about finding the girl with her, and that she blames 11 for the whole thing, even though yeah, logic says it probably wasn't 11's fault, but I think that sort of thing, like they have set up this in-universe thing in the show where I think up to a point the military rationale, especially the higher people, they rationale then they're doing all this for the good of like America. And I think they rationale that, okay, in Dr. K's mind, in this case, then 11 is the real villain, like 11 is the one causing all this. So I think up to a point, I don't really buy they would just kill innocent civilians who aren't part of the problem. Like, from her point of view, 11 is the big problem. And 11 is obviously kind of out the way then. So, I mean, it's an interesting point. I never thought about it, to be fair, but, you know.
I think it's just a different perspective on what the military, like how far they're willing to go, because they were doing experiments on Callie. I think they mentioned in the season that they're trying to create more Henrys. So, I mean, and they're trying to use the Upside Down to do it. So I feel like in order to cover their own asses, because I mean, Nancy's a journalist. So like the fact that she hasn't, you know, I guess because she doesn't think anyone will believe her, but I still just feel like they wouldn't take any chances. But sorry.
But do they know Nancy's a journalist? I mean, in theory, they got the information.
That's true, but there's a lot of people they let go. So the thought that not one of them is going to talk is kind of crazy. So I don't know. That was the hardest thing for me to buy. One of the hardest things in the entire show is just that these big villains that have been built up, because they've been built up since season 1 too, as being big villains, you know. And so the thought that they're just going to let them go because Elle died, that was crazy. That was as crazy to me as like Grey Worm in Game of Thrones letting Jon go to the north. Like, I'm just like, okay, he just killed.
I've seen Game of Thrones, but I don't remember that storyline. I mean, obviously, I kind of remember.
It's in the finale. Grey Worm was Daenerys' right-hand man, and after Jon stabs Daenerys in the chest, Grey Worm is like distraught because she was the one that freed him. That was the only person he still really cared about. You know, it was his girlfriend's best friend. And then he throws Jon in jail and they want to kill him. But then, like they promise they're going to send Jon to the wall. So he just lets them do that. And then he's like, okay, we're going to leave now, but make sure you send Jon to the wall, but we're going to go get on these boats and float away, but make sure you send him. There's actually a meme somebody made where it's Bran and Arya and Sansa and Jon right there. And Arya and Sansa and Bronn are like, okay, Grey Worm's gone. You don't have to go to the wall now. You can come back.
Wow.
Or is he gone? Yeah, he's gone. Something like that. So, and they're like, LOL. So that's kind of what it felt like to me. I was like, okay, Elle's gone, so we can just leave. I'm sure that they're not going to say anything about what we've done. And they killed a bunch of our men, but that's okay. And we're just going to let them go, even though we have this perfect conspiracy cover up to explain all these people that died.
Yeah. Well, first of all, I can't imagine why I forgot about something in the Game of Thrones finale. I mean, imagine that.
But you blocked it all out.
Yeah. It didn't happen. If it's not up here, it didn't happen. But yeah, I think that was going to be my other point. Then I guess at this point, because we've set up this season, then the military. I mean, it's also almost a little bit X-Files style. The military, like just covering up these things.
Yeah.
So I think that's another reason is they must have been pretty confident then they could get away with it by just. It's almost getting a little bit into like some of the fake news, like. Ideas than we get on like social media nowadays, but
yeah,
because also another thing, and like it's definitely one of my complaints, then Linda Hamilton was wasted, unfortunately. Like she definitely had a moment, like that scene in episode 4 was really good with Hopper and Al, and she definitely had a moment, and obviously the actress is always good, so she gave it her all, but yeah, in the end they just didn't do enough with the character. It was a wasted opportunity, and And one thing I thought they could have done a little bit more with was this idea that her own soldiers were questioning her motivations. Like they were saying, yeah, is this right what she's doing? And they were talking about revolting against her a bit.
Yeah,
I think they could have done
that.
Like, I understand, again, I think some of these complaints are just down to the fact that realistically it's an 8-season show, and nowadays it's hard to get some of this stuff into like 8 episodes, and that's obviously why they've made some of the episodes longer. But like,
that leads to my next complaint, though, that we did not need that much epilogue. I would have much rather have had the soldiers revolting and had that storyline play out. Because you're right, that's just dropped. So either they should have cut all of it, or they should have went through with it.
That's interesting. I don't agree with that, because I think an epilogue for the main characters that we followed for 5 seasons is more important than what is basically a subplot. But I think they could have like made a little bit more of it. Like that could have been maybe a more interesting conflict for Dr. K in the season. Like if the soldiers actually went a bit further and tried to cause that revolt.
Yeah, well, I'm not saying I wanted to see more of the revolt, but I wanted to see it impact the main storyline, because you're right, it's a subplot, they build it and it gets dropped, and it would have made more sense to have them, maybe they could have revolted at that moment, and that could be why after Elle dies, they let everybody go because they revolted, and that the good guys managed to get away or something like that. Or maybe Elle could have died causing a distraction or something, but something just to do something with them, with that subplot, or, dropping it. Because if you're going to introduce it, it's like that Chekhov's gun or whatever. Like if you're going to introduce that, you got to have it have some impact later on, or else, just cut it. So yeah, I totally forgot about the revolting subplot.
Yeah. Well, again, I think we're only talking about like maybe one of a small scene, or at least, I mean, obviously in the long run, I think it's more interesting than they do revolt, than they're kind of like, I mean, it doesn't have to take up that much time, but I think, it's just something, maybe an extra scene or something they could have done a little bit more with it, because that's a little bit more interesting than them just like blindly following her, you know, because she's like the leader.
Their issue is that the pacing and timing of it, because one of my other big complaints is I thought the final boss battle was way too fast. Kind of, again, thinking of Game of Thrones, just like the fight against the White Walkers being like 1 episode, and there's a lot of other problems too, like the lighting was bad and all this other stuff. But like I felt like that was way too fast. I felt like this final battle was way too fast. Especially considering how much money they had for the budget. Like I agree with people that said they should have had demogorgons and monsters and stuff, and they kind of lampshaded that, like, but the way they lampshaded it was, well, if Henry's already dead, there won't be monsters. But it's like, but we know Henry's still alive. So you lampshaded it, you tried to explain it, but your explanation actually contradicts what we already know. So I was like, it would have been better if they just hadn't said anything. Just, maybe if these, or just had 1 or 2 of them or something. I don't know. Or they could have gotten there and they could have just had all the scenes of them walking be the same. But then once they get to the monster, there's a bunch of demogorgons they have to fight off or something. I don't know, but it was weird. So yeah, go ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
Okay, just explain what you mean by lampshading, because I'm not sure I've heard that term before.
So lampshading, I don't know if I'm going to explain it perfectly, but it's basically whenever the author or the screenwriter or whatever puts an explanation in the story to explain something, so that, because they know it's a plot hole, so they're trying to explain it so that people don't think it's a plot hole. I hope I'm explaining that well. Okay. So like when Dustin said, if Henry's already dead, that could be why we're not seeing the demogorgons. It's kind of lampshading, hey, this is why there's no demogorgons in this scene. So it's kind of like creating an explanation. Yeah. And sometimes it works, but in this case, it was like the explanation doesn't make sense because we know Henry's alive. So if you say that they're not there because Henry could be dead, then that was not a good lampshade. So
Okay.
yeah, so that was my issue. That's not a big issue. My biggest issue is just that it was so short. I mean, they had 2 hours, so I was like, okay, I was thinking, it'll probably be an hour and a half. I wasn't keeping track of the time, but whenever that battle was over, and I looked down because there was that long scene where they were all happy in the cars, and I was like, something's going to happen. So I looked at the time and I saw there was an hour left. So I was like, oh, something big's going to happen. I'm like, Vecna is not dead, or the military is going to end up being the real enemy and something else is going to happen. And then, like, Elle does die, so something does happen. But then everything else is happy scenes.
Oh, that's interesting.
And the whole time I was like, something else is going to happen because there's still an hour left and Vecna died so quickly. And I feel like if they'd drawn out that boss battle and even if they had the same number of scenes, like maybe shorten some of the scenes or combine a couple of the scenes, like the whole Steve and all of them like hanging out on the roof, that could have been shortened for me. And I also think it could have happened at the graduation. They could have all been sitting at a table. That makes more sense to me that they'd all be there, because I don't even think some of them were in that scene, or if they were just in the audience reacting. So that they could have shortened that by doing that. And so I liked the scenes, but I just felt like there were so many. To me, it's like if Deathly Hallows, Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows, had ended like in the middle of the book with defeating Voldemort, and then they just stuck in a bunch of Quidditch scenes and Harry finishing his last year of school and deciding where they're going to go to college, and then they all have this heartfelt goodbye. It's like I liked the amount of epilogue we got in Deathly Hallows. I wouldn't have even minded one more chapter maybe to kind of wrap things up, but like there's a pacing issue for me because I felt like I was still expecting something big to happen because of how quickly the battle wrapped up and how many scenes of just happiness, or they're moving on. It's like, okay, I get it. You didn't give a shit about Elle. You got over it really fast. Sorry. Okay, go ahead.
Well, no, you threw me for a loop because there's so many things here I'd react to. I mean, there is a time jump, to be fair. So
that does help a little.
Certainly, Mike hasn't got over Elle. Like that's obviously clear. But
Agreed.
Like, it's just hilarious. One of the things that was funny there is the fact that you just rushed over the fact, Eleven's definitely dead. Whereas that's obviously been a big talking point. Like, is she?
Yeah.
And I don't think we should go into that just yet because it seems like we've got other things to talk about before we get there. But like, it's just hilarious with all your other things. You rush over 11's definitely dead.
Well, dead or missing, which that's even more traumatic, I think, because you don't know for sure. So, and I think Hopper thinks she's dead, and that was my other really big thing besides the military is Hopper. Like, that was his daughter. That was his replacement daughter after he'd already lost a daughter. Mm-hmm. I know this is another one of those, this is Stranger Things, you can't get too dark or whatever, but I do not see Hopper being that happy, being sensible enough to talk to Mike and tell her it was her choice. And like everything Hopper said felt so fake to me. And that I actually bought into that idea as I was watching it, that something like they were in some kind of fake reality or something, like they had been kidnapped by the military and what was happening in Mike's head wasn't real, or that like they were in Vecna's mind or some kind of fake. Because I was like, there's no way Hopper would be saying this. This is awful. Like Hopper would not be being like, she made her choice, we just got to live with it, basically.
Well, he didn't say it like that. He said it in a very sensitive way.
But I just don't see Hopper. I think Hopper would be the one that's messed up, and Mike would be comforting him because, Mike loved Elle. It was his first love. They grew up together and all that. But I think the replacement daughter bond is stronger than the. No. Yeah.
It is like. Well, I do have an answer, like, because, again, it's an interesting point. Like, it's not really one I thought about too much, but, like...
No one's talking, sorry.
No, sorry. You're way smarter, Madison, than everyone. clearly.
No, it's just there's a lot of people that are complaining about the epilogue too long, the battle was too short, and all this stuff. But there's not enough people. And then a lot of people were also like, the characters seemed really weird after that, during the epilogue, which I agree with. But like, no one's specifically talking about Hopper. And I'm like, I just do not buy that at all. I don't buy any of the Hopper scenes after that. And then the proposal with Winona Ryder, I was like, at the very least, he's going to mention Elle and maybe start crying or something. And then nothing. He's just happy. I'm like, no, 18 months is not enough.
I agree with you. There's too much of it. Like, overall, I like the epilogue. Overall, I mean, I haven't really said this, but overall, I'm more positive on the episode than you are. Like, I thought it was a really strong finale. Because it's funny you bring up Game of Thrones. I mean, again, morons on the internet seem to think this finale is as weak as Game of Thrones. And there's no way.
It's not as bad. I definitely see some similarities, especially when I found out the Duffer brothers, like there's been rumors that they were like trying to hurry up and get the script finished so they could move on to the Talisman. And then that project got pulled. I was like, oh my God, it's the two writers from Game of Thrones, D&D. I have to clarify because there's so much D&D in the show. I'm like, it's D&D all over again with the whole, we want to finish this project up and move on. And then it's like, oh, that project you really wanted, we're taking it back now. We don't want you to do it. So I thought that was kind of funny.
I mean, there's no way of knowing that though, is there? I mean, it's speculation, you know.
Well, it got canceled right after the bad reception of Stranger Things, so I don't know. Maybe not.
Well, most of the epilogue, but I think I agree. Then it went too long. Like, I do agree the Hopper scene with Joyce was a weaker one. Like, I don't think, still have a scene with them maybe, but like I don't think you need to have a proposal scene. Like, I think that was a bit much, and it was just a bit of a going through the motion scene because I could see where it was going. Very predictable and
and sorry. Go ahead.
Well, no, but just in general, like I would say most of the epilogue I liked, and I think they could have cut it down. Like, I think that is a fair complaint. I think overall it was. I think I like the episode partly because there's a good balance of you've got this one big like final battle and the whole stakes of it and everything, and then you're still giving them quite a long time to have like round up with all the characters, and I think that's what I like about it. Then they were sort of doing both, and I think when you've had 5 seasons with these characters, I think you're right. They definitely could have cut stuff out and changed certain things, but in general, I think it makes sense to have one big epilogue because when you've spent 5 seasons with these, especially in a coming of age show like this, when it is such a big, they're going off into their futures and all the rest of it. But I can see some of your complaints. So I have a couple of points. First of all, in answer to your complaint about that Hopper and Mike scene, I think one way I can rationale it is then I think as an adult he would just take that responsibility of he has to be the strong one for Mike and not to let his emotions show. So I think you're right. I think deep inside, obviously, it's only 18 months, so he would still be really hurting. Like, I mean, from his point of view, it's that double blow, isn't it? Because he lost his daughter as well. But but that's sort of how I rationale it a little bit. Then he's trying to be the strong, responsible adult for Mike, and I think, because I do like his speech about we all know what Elle would want you to do. Like, I do like that. That is something like a parent figure might say.
I do think parts of it work. I just felt like overall he was just in too good condition. Maybe they needed to have him cry or break down or something, because he did that so many times in so many other parts. Despite the fact that he really very masculine man in the show, there's many times where he cries and shows his feelings, and I felt like he was just too okay. And it's not just that scene. There's the scene where Will is going to graduation and they're doing the lighting, which I did like that moment where the Jonathan's like, put some curtain or put the sheer up or whatever. And he's like, this isn't The Godfather. That was funny. But again, I just felt like it's too soon for that. But and there was something else. Oh, the proposal scene. I actually wouldn't have minded if he'd proposed, but I still feel like Elle should have been brought up. There should have been tears. It should have been like, we gotta, I'd like to start over or something. Again, like that's what Elle would want. Like, I think that should have been brought up, and he should have. Maybe he couldn't show his vulnerable side to Mike, although I think a little bit would be okay because I think he's done that before with other characters that he's, gotten really emotional and vulnerable. But I definitely think with Joyce, of all people in the show, he should have been very vulnerable and talking about Elle and getting into that grief. I feel like they were just trying to make everything so happy after that. And I feel like that just wasn't true. But I feel like the other characters, I could kind of be okay with their reaction. Mike definitely had an appropriate amount of grief, but I just felt like Hopper, out of all of them, I was like, that's so weird that he's doing so well. That's why I think I said... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Well, I mean, this is just a small point, but you're right. It was a very positive ending, and like at least the message of the ending was very positive, and we had lots of nice, happy scenes. And yeah, for some people that got a little bit much about it. It's like it's still what they did with 11 at the end and what have you. That's still quite a dark and bold thing to do, like at the end of the thing, and the whole tying it into the D&D game, as well, I thought was really, really clever, because like the whole show started with a game of D&D, so I do like that coming full circle. In certain scenes they played it too safe, and that's probably fair. Like some of that stuff actually, and leaving it open-ended the way they did, I think that's actually quite a bold move, which I didn't expect them to do. Like I'd sort of thought like either someone's dead one way or the other and you've got a clear-cut thing, or they're not. Like I didn't really expect them to do it in quite that way. So but that stuff with 11 I think is a little bit darker when you think about it.
Yeah, but like I said, if everybody's acting happy and like they've moved on for the most part, other than Mike, and that last scene at the end, then I think that it kind of negates how happy everyone's acting, which again is why I was like, this has to be a fake reality, especially with Hopper. Like I said, I think everybody else I could kind of hand wave, but Hopper is just like, that's so hard for me to buy his reaction.
Okay.
And so and then when Mike has that flash of remembering the military flash things, at the graduation scene that I guess stops Elle's power and everything. And he kind of like has this moment where he's like shaken. Like I was like, oh, that's what's really happening, is something dark, and they're imprisoned somewhere and something's happening and he's starting to snap out of whatever vision this is. And then it's like, oh, that was just him coming up with a theory of why Elle's alive. Like, okay.
Over that, like 11's definitely dead, because like that's a big debate on the internet. Like some people believe that what Mike is saying is legitimately what happened, and it's like because people are saying, oh, they chickened out again, they walked it back, and like I mean, I fundamentally disagree with that anyway, because and I think this is a taste thing. Like some people just don't like open-ended endings. Like some people like a clear cut, this happened, it all. Whereas I do like, especially in a fantasy show, a fantasy sci-fi show, I do like stuff like that. Like I think that was, for all the other problems you might say in the finale, I actually think to tie it to the D&D game again was fitting, and I think to actually to do it like that, where you can make up your own mind as an audience. It's sort of funny that you seem pretty clear cut on it. I mean, as it is, I actually agree with you. I think 11 is probably dead. And by the way, so does Sadie Sink. She said on the Tonight Show ending, I don't have an issue with. I think they just nailed like the last few minutes when they were. I kind of like just the idea now that Max is in the group now, like she's part of that D&D game. Whereas early on, when she first came in, there was a little bit of a barrier.
She was like nerds.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. So I kind of like that in a way. She is, in a way, you want to say the token girl in that group, but like it's almost like a progressive thing of, girls can be nerds as well and be a part of that stuff. And yeah, I just thought it was really clever working into the game. And I've seen theories online, they're saying it was a game all along. No, I don't think they're saying that somehow.
No.
If you want to reach to that, you can read it as that. That's fine.
Mike was just so desperate for a girlfriend. He made up the whole story. He made up everything. That's why Hopper's okay, because Elle was never real.
That explains it. But And I think also it does fit a little bit into like the multi options of those kind of games a bit. Then we almost have that with 11, don't we? We have, she could be alive, she could be dead, she could be off in another dimension somewhere.
I like the way you connected it to D&D, because that does make it a little easier to accept. Okay, the reason I assume she was dead is because I looked it up online, or I looked up like just people's thoughts about the finale, and somebody said the Duffer brothers confirmed she actually died, and Mike made it all up to get over it. I don't know if that's true. I just Googled it, but there was a couple people saying that, so I don't know if they. I just read an article that said earlier that there was never a version where 11 was hanging out with the gang at the end. For us and our writers, we didn't want to take her powers away. That's the ending I would have gone with, but okay. She represents magic in a lot of ways, and the magic of childhood. So 11 had to go away for our characters to move on and grow up. And we wanted the characters to we thought it would be beautiful if our characters continued to believe in a happy ending, even if we didn't tell them if it's true. So that doesn't sound like confirming she's dead. But maybe they've released another statement since then, because they can't stop talking, apparently.
Yeah. We said that they should kept quiet for a couple of months and then maybe done an interview or something. Because let's face it, in the run-up to the show coming out and everything, they're going to be all over the press circuit. So they can give it a rest for a week. And this is my whole thing. Like, I'm not going to go on a rant about like the internet and stuff, but it's like, for better or for worse, once a finale's out and they've written the ending, if you don't like the ending, then fine, you can express that. But it's not your right to try and retcon a new ending. That's the ending the writers have written, and I mean, it's hilarious. It's good to make fun of the stupid. Conformity gate thing, but it crashed Netflix apparently and everything.
I bet you anything though, in the next at least 3 or 4 years, we are going to get something like that, because it was so, not with Stranger Things, but like there's going to be some show that tries that, or Netflix is probably going to have some show try that because of how popular that theory was and how excited people got for it. I bet there's going to be some show that pulls that. And I think it would be cool. If it had been true, I think that would have been one of the coolest things a show has ever done, to have that happy epilogue and then turn out that was Mike stuck in some kind of... I do think if they were going to do it, though, they would have done what they did with season 3 and given us a bigger hint. So, that something was wrong. But that would have been so cool if they had. Go ahead.
No, like, this is just a quick side thing, but it's sort of funny. Like, it reminds me a bit of, with a different show, Yellow Jackets. For ages, there's been speculation and there's a mystery episode. Like, just like one of these episodes where you're sort of filling in some blanks, but it's not actually tied to the ongoing storyline. Well, it is sort of tied, but it's just, it would stand alone almost, just to explain like a few things. And I think it's become a big thing online, because apparently, like, I've heard different things, then they accidentally revealed they were planning it, and then they got boxed into the corner a bit. But then there were certain things, maybe because of the pandemic or writer's strike. I think it was the writer's strike, where going into like season 3 or whatever it was, which is when fans were expecting it, like they were. So it is quite similar, because fans were expecting it after season 2 but before season 3. And like I think in the end it was just this thing of, because of the writer's strike, they were like, okay, we've obviously got to prioritize season 3, but I mean, there's one more season of the Yellow Jacket, so I guess theoretically that episode could still happen. But you know, like, but it got me thinking of that a little bit. It sort of gets the right balance of, because I'm with you. I think it is like the story which Mike has concocted, and it's using the whole D&D thing, which I think is clever. But like, I think I like the fact that it gives hope to the characters, because I think, as I said, going back to like the Buffy comparison, and I mean, in Buffy, you know, there's a lot of dark stuff and there's a lot of high stakes and drama, but you know, like ultimately that is kind of a feel good, uplifting, positive show. Like that's sort of the message, and you can sort of do it, you know, like you can defeat these earth-shattering problems by banding. So I think that's why the ending works, because it's that mix of they've got hope, and if you like, literally they say I believe, like all in one.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I do like that it's open-ended, and you can just pick your own version. Like, does she live or does she die? So
yeah.
Like, in a way, it's a compromise, because in a way they don't have to say, because they've left it as this open-ended thing. But like, I'm not someone who always needs everything laid out and explained 100%. I do quite like endings like that.
I didn't mind it either. In fact, I was kind of glad that they left it open-ended, because I was like, man, it really sucks to think that she died after having such a rough life, and I'm still kind of mad she did it too. But I was kind of like Mike and Hopper, like, yeah, you could go on the run. You could probably, you know, find some way. I don't know. But either way, I do like, and I love that she found the 3 waterfalls that Mike had mentioned on her walk. That was a nice really callback to that scene. So yeah, I think the last scene was done well and executed well. I think my problem again with the epilogue is how many scenes, how long they were. I think the rooftop scene in particular was kind of weird. And I think I would have shortened that and again stuck it at the end of the graduation scene. But I did like the whole last scene of it, the whole last scene of the show. Wasn't what I wanted. I wanted a badass second villain thing, but it was good for, you know, what it is, especially when you get into that idea of it's a coming of age show. And I get that them, and I get that them putting the binders up is symbolic of them kind of, you know, maybe walking away from their childhood. It kind of made me feel it's like that kind of, okay, we've grown up, no more childish games. But then it kind of falls apart, because it's like D&D is so popular, and there's so many. I know so many adult men. I think I know more adult men that play D&D than I do children. So it's like,
but in the 80s, it's different now. But in the 80s,
that's true. Okay, yeah, I guess that makes sense. I guess in the 80s, when you know, grew up and started college, you stopped playing D&D. So maybe. So yeah, I don't know. That does make sense. But yeah, because right now it's super popular, partly probably inspired because of Stranger Things. Probably, so yeah, that's a good point. I hadn't thought about that.
Elle could be a sacrifice this season, because I think she might just feel that it's safer for her friends, and that if she is away, you know, from Hawkins, and even though I guess that ties a little bit into the Callie stuff, because we still haven't, like, you know, I think that's obviously a complaint this season, because I think they tried their best to justify Callie returning, but in the long run, I don't think they did. overall. Like, there was definitely moments that were interesting, but like overall, it just felt like we didn't really need to have her come back, and they didn't do enough to justify it.
Yeah, I agree. She should have been part of the final battle. Same thing with Will. I understand that he used his powers to stop Vecna from like Groot facing Elle, but I think that he and Elle should have had to work together to, you know, impale Vecna. I would have liked to have seen them like literally both using their powers at the same time to kind of show that Elle couldn't have done it on her own. Because they made such a big deal about Will getting powers, and that episode 4 where he's so Harry Potter, you know, he's got that main character energy. So I was actually worried that he was gonna like outshine Elle, and he was gonna be the one that takes Vecna down. And I was like, well, I guess he kind of deserves it after what happened in season 1 and 2. And I was like, and Elle will probably, of course, still play some vital role. And then it was the opposite, where even though they gave Will all this extra screen time, they developed his relationship with Vecna so that it was basically Harry Potter and Voldemort, and they have this connection. And then Elle's still the one that really does the heavy lifting, which is, again, it's okay. I wish Will had a bigger part in that final battle. And again, if they'd made the final battle a little longer, then maybe they could have done that.
Okay, so. I'm going to jump in with a very basic point, because it's something I've been meaning to say earlier. But like, and I know this is a cop out a bit, but like, the whole of the final battle isn't just that battle. Like it starts literally when they enter the Upside Down. You know, that's the fight. Like someone else said online, the final battle is actually 53 minutes long. It is not just that battle and like that big blow off. Like I
feel like a whole
I think every part of it. I mean, I just, again, this is me nerding out for the big sci-fi moments, but I love the fact that they literally went to another planet and like, almost, I mean, maybe not quite, but it was pretty much like on another planet, and Stranger Things goes to space. We know how cool that can be.
Yeah, usually whenever a franchise goes to space, it's like, oh, that's the end of it. You know, what was it? Jason in space, and then Chris and I talked yesterday. It's time to have a Saw movie in space because we're on the 11th one now. But that actually Scream, because then you can reuse the Alien tagline. No one can hear you scream. Oh my gosh, it's so funny.
It's got Ghostface would look cool in like a little spacesuit killing people.
Oh my god. Can you imagine? Do you think he would try to put it over the helmet, the astronaut helmet, so that it's like a giant ghost face? Or do you think he would be on the inside? Question. So you've got the astronaut helmet and all you see is the Scream mask. I think either one would be hilarious.
Either one could be cool, yeah. No, it's got that. Only great things can come from it. I might watch it more than any other Scream movie.
I was just about to say, it's insane and stupid, and I would totally watch it. That sounds hilarious. Oh my god.
Yeah, Rachel's ranting if she's watching this, because I keep winding her up about the only logical thing to do is take Scream to space. And she hates me for it. So there you go.
I don't. Yeah, logic is not the word I would use, but fantastic is the word I would use.
There you go.
I would watch the hell out of that. Oh my god. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. But like I was saying, all that stuff I love. Like, I mean, okay, if you just want to break it down to like calling that the final battle, because there's been some great final battles in Stranger Things, and
I think the one last season. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. Go ahead.
No, I think arguably this is the weakest, but like I think that's maybe compared to some really great final battles, because I think maybe season 3 is still my favorite. The stuff in the mall, but like this show has done some great final battles. And I think one of the things I liked about it is I do like them again working together as a group. I do like them. Elle's in trouble. She's in like, because people say like they just ran through him, and like the big like what is it called, mind flare, and people say that, and like, but they forget that Elle definitely took a slacking like from Vecna, and like, and I think that's the point. I think 11, who's so important, is in danger, and I think that's what I like about the scene. I like then it's like everyone working together. I like then. I think it's Nancy, isn't it? Like she agrees to be like bait to like cause a distraction, or I think it was Nancy.
It's Nancy,
because of the gun, a badass gun. But that's something I like about the scene. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't remember what Joyce and Hopper were doing during the final battle. But
saying, well, how did Joyce end up there? Well, she just went in the Upside Down with them, surely. Like, I'm pretty sure that's what happened. And admittedly, you don't see a lot of her because she's not that central to what's going on. But like,
yeah, I'd have to watch it again. But I don't remember seeing her or Hopper on the tower or in any of the scenes where they're talking.
I mean, obviously they all had their roles, and like there were bits where they were divided up and things like that.
Yeah, I'd have to watch it again.
I would have to watch again.
I agree.
A lot of stuff going on.
Yeah, there's just so much, so I'd have to watch it again. So that might not be. Yeah, that might be fine, but
without rewatching it, yeah. But that's just how I read it because the Joyce bit might be my favorite. Like just one individual bit of the whole finale, because and I was convinced she was going to take pity on him. I think because they did that whole thing of making Henry a little bit more sympathetic because of like his backstory and things like. But no, that was such a killer line. You fucked with the wrong family, and that was. What a great use of flashbacks. We even got our Barb cameo in there because of the flashback there. But that was so much history there. That was a great way to use the flashback.
It was funny. Someone mentioned though, so no flashback for Steve and Robin. I guess they don't have a beef with Vecna. I thought that was funny. But I agree. I thought the Joyce moment was cool. I'm glad she got to have her own moment of badass in the series. And I agree with you. I think that some of another big problem is that other seasons have just had better finales that felt more epic and more drawn out. I agree. I think season 3 is probably the best. I'd have to watch 4 again because I really liked 4 too. I liked 4 more than this one because it just felt more drawn out. This world they'd entered felt very dangerous and scary. Whereas the world we entered in season 5 was just like a barren wasteland. Like we've seen this kind of an atmosphere before, whereas the atmosphere in season 4 was very dark and menacing and scary. I think maybe the final battle should have actually taken place not taken place elsewhere. It did need to be on the planet, but like the planet should have been scarier, darker, should have had that unexpected element where you don't know what's happening. Maybe give us some more of that goo. The goo is never explained. Maybe give us some more of that weird other dimensional goo. And also, I think to make that final battle feel longer, you're right, because they are walking and talking for quite some time before they encounter the final monster. Again, if they just thrown some demogorgons and monsters in there they had to get around, or some other obstacle before they find the mind flayer, I think that would have helped that final battle feel more epic. Even if the Vecna part stayed the same, I think that having more obstacles they have to overcome before they get to Vecna would make it feel more epic, because I think that season 4 did that really well, and I think that season 5 would have benefited from that. So yeah.
Okay, no, I can see that. Like, I think it was always going to be this season because it's the final season. I think
Mm-hmm.
it was always going to be a little bit of a different vibe. Like, I think sometimes with finales and with final seasons, you are quite, in a way, naturally rounding things up and like
Mm-hmm.
coming to an end. And that's the thing. Like, it's funny that you're so high on season 4. And I mean, again, I like all the seasons. Like, there's sort of faults along the way and everything else. Like, and I know the internet is insisting that this is the weakest season. Like for me, it's still 2. Like, season 2 is still the weakest. But like, and I'm nowhere near as negative on this season. Like, I think there's a lot of good stuff this season. But it's like, yeah, but that's the thing. Going back, like, I would probably say, obviously, the Henry stuff was really good this season. Like, we agreed on that, really. But like, yeah, I would say the Vecna plot in season 4 was a really strong. It was a real game changer, and like,
Yeah.
So I would probably say the Vecna stuff in season 4 was stronger than the stuff this season. But then again, there's complaints from season 4 which I don't really have this season either. I think obviously, like, everything, all the plots and subplots, with one or two exceptions, but you don't really have that where certain plots feel more important than others, like you had in season 4.
Yeah.
Like, I think there's a lot of strong stuff this season, and
yeah, it was more focused and cohesive. I'll say that about 5 compared to 4, because 4 really does feel a bit all over the place until the last couple episodes, because you've got so many storylines going on. And then also it's a little bit dumb that Joyce never communicates with the group about how she thinks Hopper's alive. Like, I don't know. At some point, I think that you should just tell everybody so that they know what's going on, because I always felt like that was a big problem with this. Well, not a problem, like, not a storytelling problem, but like a problem with the characters in the show, is that nobody ever communicates, which I understand, and it's very realistic and true to life, so it's not a writing complaint. But yeah, it feels a little bit less cohesive and focused, because there's just so many different things going on, and it's not just different things going on, because a lot of things were going on in this season. They have different goals. That's the thing, is that they're all pursuing something a little bit different, because they're all in different places. And, you've got Joyce, who's focused on Hopper. You've got Elle, who's focused on getting her memories and all that stuff. And, the California storyline is, separate. So yeah, I think that's one strength that season 5 has, is that they were very focused. They're all kind of working on the same goal. And that's good. So I liked that part of it.
Yeah. No, like I said, and we said this when we talked about volume 1, is we said how it was a very confident start, and they just came out of the blocks very well. There's an accumulative final battle where, like, the stuff going on with Holly is important to it, like the stuff with Callie and Al, because even though some of the Callie stuff isn't so good, but some of that stuff is obviously important to it, and there's certain stakes with that, and then there's stakes with what the main group are doing. So I think I just see it as, like, every little bit is, like, important, and, like, I guess in a way, in season 4, like you said, you had such a great final battle with Vecna. Like, I guess because of that, I don't necessarily mind that this one wasn't. It's almost like, I think in a final season, you're rounding up the show, and it is the weakest final battle. But, like, I do think that is partly in comparison with how good some of the final battles are. Like, I don't hate the final battle like a lot of people seem to. So
yeah, I don't hate it. I just wish that it was longer and a little more complicated, like some of the other finales or some of the other final battles have been. And somebody brought up a really good point, which I'll admit I never thought of, and it's not a big deal, but Nancy starts shooting at the monster, like, right away whenever she's going to be bait. And I was like, you could give them chance to climb up that hill. She's like, run! And it's like, the monster didn't even know y'all were there. You could have, like, given them a little heads up, and then they managed to climb up this really huge cliff in, like, a couple minutes. And I was like, okay, it's fine. It's fine. It's not a big deal. But it's just like, it was pretty funny.
You know, she wasn't thinking. She was panicking in the moment. It's pretty terrifying.
But how did they get up there? I guess we could just assume they found a teleportation. That's the D&D thing, right? They found that teleportation square and shot him up there.
It's all a game after all, Madison.
See, little things like that are clues that this was all just a D&D game because Mike is lonely. He likes that girl Elle at his school, so he made up this whole backstory.
Game logic applies. Yeah. There's no rules in games.
Yeah. So that's I didn't mind that though. I didn't even think about it till later, but I do just kind of wish the final battle was a little bit more complicated or something, more obstacles, more to do, because they are just walking for a while. I'm like, you could have maybe they have to search for the mind flayer. Maybe they gotta do like what Holly and Max did and find some clues to get there or something. Something. Yeah.
I get your complaints. Like, I think for me, I just see it as so much of this show is the characters and their journeys. Like, obviously I love the final battles and they've had some really great ones, but for me, the more important stuff is the characters and the emotion and the journey. So
yeah, and you know, it might not have been so obvious if the epilogue was shorter too. So that's again, it's a pacing problem. Like, if the whole episode had been shorter, I might not have felt like that scene was so fast.
Well, apparently, and I didn't realize this because it didn't seem that way to me, but the final battle apparently is actually shorter than Will's coming out scene. Like, someone pointed that out.
Wow.
There you go.
That is short. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it didn't really seem like that to me, but apparently it was. And actually, just going back a little bit to something you mentioned earlier, I did actually quite like the vampire metaphor with the blood and Callie. I thought that was quite cool. It's like when she tried to turn Elle's head in the episode before, where she was kind of like, the only way to end all this is if we both die, if we both stay on like the bridge. And it's like, okay, that's the only way. Otherwise, people like Dr. K will just keep coming. Now, did you believe for a moment that 11 was going to make that decision? Or did you? No, I didn't really.
I thought that she would consider it, and then I thought she would change her mind for some reason, because I was like, there's no way. Like, there's no way they were going to leave Hopper without Elle, and they did it anyways.
They did it in a different sort of way.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's fair enough, you know. I mean, as much as the Callie stuff was pointless, really, I think it was fair enough that she accepted her fate in the end, because she said herself, like, this is what I think we should do. Like, I think we should sacrifice ourselves, like, because that's just the way she saw it. That's the better thing for the world. But yeah, no, I was never sold on that. Like, you could definitely see like 11 pondering it. Like, there was an element of doubt, and you know, I guess it's another little bit of like stakes going into the finale. But no, like you, I think that's a bit of a problem where you just think, yeah, no, I don't buy 11 would do that. So that was a bit of a problem, I think. You like that scene with Robin, Steve, and the rest of them on the roof. Like, I think it's a really moving scene. I think it's nice to have a scene like that with them, where I think it's because they're almost in a different like age group than the others. So I think it is good to have a scene with them, kind of just showing where they are now and moving forward. But you're probably right, it could have been cut down.
Was there a scene between Steve and Dustin in the epilogue? Because if not, that's weird. I'm trying to think. I know Steve was in the audience during the graduation, but I don't remember if he ever says anything to Dustin.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Yeah, because obviously they did have their big reuniting, making up scene before then, which was good. Like they had to have that moment. No, I don't know. There's so much stuff going on.
I know. There's so much. That would have been nice, though, to have that moment between them at the graduation. Because he was there, so, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I was surprised Susie didn't show up. Like, she was one of the big omissions, really, because...
But her and Dustin broke up, so,
Well, but the actor has said that now off screen, but, like, obviously, as far as we knew, they were still together on screen.
I thought they broke up in season 4, and it was mentioned, because when they go to see her... Maybe not. I might be misremembering. I've only seen the seasons once, so I need to go back and do a rewatch.
And I mean, that's not a big issue because, again, we are talking about time jump, so it is logical that by the time you get to that point, they may have broken up, but it's not.
Well, Dustin's hitting on that girl, so I hope they broke up.
Yeah, that was fun, bringing that bully back, like it was like coming full circle. Nancy's words from the end of season 2 kind of came true. And I do like, I think it's Mike says, I've got a better idea, and that's when they go and do the D&D.
Yeah, the D&D,
So that was good. And it's cool that that actress got brought back for that, like to be part of the finale. That was pretty good. Okay, well, so certainly you have more problems with the finale than I do. Like overall, I was pretty pleased with it. Like I think it was a fitting way to leave off those characters and settle everything down. Obviously, the ending was very interesting and what they were suggesting. Like, definitely complaints. Like stuff with Callie. Like overall, I think they didn't do enough with Dr. K. The epilogue should have been cut down. Like a lot of it I did like, but it should have been cut down, and definitely complaints with that. And needless to say, like the very end, the end credits with Heroes was great as well. Like them all appearing as like comic book characters and heroes bringing that back.
Yeah.
Because I think also that's the first time they've actually used the David Bowie version. Because I think when they used it in other seasons, it was like a cover version, apparently. So that was great. That was a great way to end off.
Yeah. I have a few final thoughts before we wrap up.
Sure.
I wrote that I loved that Murray got his badass moment with the grenade and everything. I think we already talked about, we're both glad that Murray didn't die. I love that Steve is a coach, so he is forever the babysitter.
Nice. I agree.
And I liked the part about him teaching sex ed too. That was hilarious. I really liked that. So it's nice to know that Dustin had such an impact on him. He's going to continue to work with the youth and spread his wisdom. So I wrote Callie was there for a minute in the finale. But I do feel like she served her purpose for the most part. I would have liked to have seen her, Will, and Elle up against Vecna in the final battle. But mostly I just wanted to at least see Will and Elle do a little bit more together, but that's a minor complaint compared to all of my other complaints. I said, where was Callie in the final death montage? They did not have her, which was
do you mean at the very end?
Sorry, not the very end. When they're fighting Vecna, and they're all having their memories of people that died because of him. Like Nancy thinks about Barb, and Joyce thinks about Bob and all that stuff. Elle doesn't think about Callie, even though she's dead or dying. So
true. I mean, I think this is getting into part of the problem with bringing Callie back is like,
Mm-hmm.
and you know, and it's fine. Like her accepting her fate and all the rest of it is fine. But like, I think just the fact that they try and treat that as a dramatic death, like when it just isn't. Like we're not really sold enough on the fact that this is someone who means that much to 11.
Yeah, I mean, 11's like, you're my sister, and she's holding her hand and all this. I kind of felt like it was a big deal to 11. So, I mean, I agree that, like, from a storytelling perspective, that it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. But I felt like in the show, they were trying to convince us that they were close, and this is my sister and all this other stuff. And I felt like they were trying to sell that to us. But then to not include her in the montage,
That's what I'm
it's
saying.
like, does she care or not? Yeah. So
you mean the montage when Joyce is basically smashing Vecna?
Yeah, and everybody's thinking about all the pain he's caused and inflicted and all that. So yeah.
Okay. I mean, okay. I guess like it's a consequence of that. Like, but I suppose in a way the Callie stuff is more self-sacrificing. Is the argument? Maybe. I mean, obviously, it's down to Vecna at the end of the day. Yeah. Otherwise, they wouldn't be doing the thing in the first place. But
yeah, you know, I mean, yeah, technically, it's the military that kills Callie, but maybe that's why they didn't do it. But I feel like she wouldn't have been there if it wasn't for Vecna. Mm-hmm. So yeah,
that's true. I think I agree that in theory, it should be a big enough character for 11, where it's I just don't think they did a good enough job of like showing that.
How big a deal was Bob? Bob was just Bob was just the dude that Joyce was dating for a little while.
Well, yeah, but like again, I think that's to do with he has a nice little arc where he becomes more likable this season. That's like he probably has more screen time than he definitely has more screen time than Callie does, and he's he goes out heroically. Mm-hmm. And it's important because, at the end of the day, I know it's that one season, but Joyce and him have been dating for a while in theory, so they have become close. So, again, it's association. It's the fact that he's important to Joyce.
Yeah, sad face. Since Max wasn't in that scene, that they didn't reference Billy dying. Because he was another really big death, obviously.
They could have included him.
But Max wasn't really there, so I was like, oh, well, that's why. I wrote go ahead.
Well, it's just, I'm blanking now a little bit on what happened with Max, because at one point they made it look like she was going to be in the final battle, and then there was some reason why she wasn't. I can't remember what it was.
I think her and Vicky were kidnapped by the military.
That's it.
Yeah. So,
and actually, one other really cool thing which I liked was I really liked the Vecna stuff with Hopper. When he was like playing mind games and like trying to convince him that this is 11's future, like she's going to die, and he was inside his head, basically planting those visuals like that. That was a really good scene. That again was quite psychological and quite intense for Hopper. So that was a good scene.
Yeah, that was a really good scene. I liked that a lot. I wrote whenever Robin sticks her head out when they're. First of all, I had an anxiety attack when how long that ride was, because I was like, this is so happy. Something awful is going to happen, which is kind of what I thought with the epilogue, too. Like, they're all so happy. They're making such a big deal about, being relieved and stuff. Like, something bad's going to happen. And then Robin sticks her head out the window. I'm like, girl, I know Hereditary hasn't come out yet, but... but oh my god, I just was getting flashbacks. Like,
very good.
So
like I did like how they sold that scene, like in the moment. Like I think them all reacting the way they did, and and I thought even though the military in the end, I think we both agreed they could have done a little bit more with them, but like. Like, it was quite a clever twist, like the way it kind of, because for a while I thought, oh, have they just forgotten about them? And then they kind of just intercepted that, and like that's when 11 was forced to make the decision. So I thought that was quite a clever little like twist, because like you said, we all suspected there was going to be something.
Yeah,
because still a lot of time to go.
Yeah, I still just feel like I don't know. There had to be some way to write so that it makes sense that the military would let them go, or makes more sense the military would let them go, or something that defeats the military, or at least distracts them enough to escape. Even if like Elle had, when she disappeared, if like everyone in the military had run towards her, because that's another thing, they're all just kind of standing there for a while. But I was like, well, maybe they're afraid of her, so like that's okay. But like if they'd all like gone running after her and then everybody else ran away, like I know it's a small, well, it seems like a small thing to some people. To me, I was just like, they're prisoners. Why would they be let go? But like if they were all distracted by Elle, and that would also make it feel like it's more necessary too for Elle to have done that, you know, because it's like, well, everybody was held at gunpoint until she disappeared, or you know, that scene happened. So yeah, I just feel like there had to be some way to tweak that scene to make it feel more, to make Elle's sacrifice feel a little more necessary, but more importantly to explain how they got away from the military, because that's still just that's troubling me.
Okay.
It's just an itch in my brain. But yeah, there was parts of it, the military storyline, that I liked, and parts that I just felt like they could have done a little more with. But
sure. Yeah. No, that's totally fair.
Yeah. And they could have made that scene bigger too. So that the military is like a second villain, instead of just like this thing that they quickly do away with. Because whenever the cars crashed, I was like, oh, it's about to go down. Shit's about to happen. And then it was over pretty quickly. So,
yeah, I think that's part of the thing this season, is that the military doesn't feel as big a threat as like other seasons, and it sort of feels a bit more like they're a hurdle and like an extra bit of tension rather than. And I think that's partly the complaint with Dr. K, is then you know, Brannon feels like a much more important character to like Stranger Things lore and what have you. And you know, I mean, obviously she's only got one season, so that's, in a way, that's not fair, but like we both agree they could have done more with her character.
Yeah.
Oh, it sounds like you're positive on this season, but then a lot of your complaints is with the finale.
Yeah.
And, like, it's almost like if it was a stronger finale for you, like that really would have capped it off and made for a really good final season.
Yeah. And I felt like the final season up until the finale was so strong. And that's another thing, too. It's like, oh, it was so good. They did so much of a great job setting up. It felt so cohesive. Like, there wasn't really any filler scenes up until the epilogue. Well, I wouldn't even say it was filler. It just felt like everything else, all the dangerous stuff happened so fast. And then it's like an hour. The epilogue is an hour almost of just like waiting for something big to happen. But it's all honestly just, and then of course the Mike thing was a big problem, because again, that kind of set it up in my brain. Like, oh, something else is going to happen because he's having these flashes. And then,
you knew something was coming.
Yeah. So I don't know. Like I said, I think that the rooftop scene could have been shortened. They could have merged it with the graduation. I think the proposal scene was good, but again, Hopper should have been like more emotional and connected it to Elle so that it felt like it had, you know, multiple purposes in addition to them fight. I wrote, someone finally went to Enzo's. I wrote that in my notes. Yeah, like I was like, fine. I actually said that I was watching it by myself too. I don't usually talk when I'm watching something by myself, but I was like, someone finally went to Enzo's. It's a real place.
Madison, sometimes I'm the worst. Like I sing along to songs if I'm
the only time I ever really get into it usually is whenever somebody says something and I make a dirty joke out loud, or if people are being really stupid, I'll just be like, "Oh my god, you're so dumb," and I'll be like, "The writing's getting really like I'll complain, sure, but I don't usually like talk, narrate and stuff." But that time I was like, "They finally went to Enzo's." So when 11 said I'll jump on the boulders and it'll get me there, I was like, $480 million budget, and you're not going to show that. She just is there. Like, they didn't have to, but it's another one of those. I wanted to see her jumping from the boulder. That would have been so cool. How much more money would that have been? You know, like that.
I don't even remember that bit, but so I can't really comment. But fair enough.
Yeah, she was talking to Hopper about how she was going to get to the planet, from where they were, and I was just like, that would have been cool to show that, because it does feel like you said, like, how did Joyce get there? It does feel like there's a little bit of a teleport problem with this season, where characters are just there, and I don't know. Again, I guess they're trying to. They could have made it 3 hours. People would have still watched a 3-hour show, but yeah, I think that was something that, I don't know, I kind of wanted to see that. But it's not a big deal.
No. I think we all have that as fans, don't we? We all have, like, just like you said, it's not a big deal, but it's just a personal thing. I would have liked to have seen a little bit more of this or that, but that's fine. Okay.
Yeah, and let's see. I also wrote. So Max was blind. They confirmed she was blind in season 4, and in season 5, she's just fine. Like, I actually forgot she was blind, but somebody had mentioned it, and I was like, yeah, they could have addressed that too a little bit. At least lampshaded it.
Well, there is that line from Vicky, because she says about it's natural than you've just been in a I mean, technically she's more in a trance, but she says you've been in a coma for so long. It's natural then it takes a while for your eyes to regain their emotion. Because, like, when she first comes out, she is sort of blind, I think. And Vicky says to her about that, then that's natural when you've been in a coma so long.
It's natural when you've been possessed by Vecna. Yeah, that was like just a nitpicky thing. Like, it's all right. I can also, sometimes people's bodies heal themselves of stuff like that in comas. So, like, I was like, okay, I'll
There's definitely reasons you could apply to that. Yeah.
So that was a small thing.
Not a massive thing.
This one was a little bit of a bigger issue I had that I forgot about. Will and Vecna, when they have that scene. Again, it's another reason why I thought Will was going to be a bigger role, like, at least literally in kicking Vecna's ass at the end, as they have that connection. And Will was like, you weren't evil, Vecna. The magical rock made you evil, which, I'll be honest, I wasn't a big fan of the magical rock.
Okay.
That's okay.
Me too. I agree. No, that is something I forgot about that. Again, so much stuff going on.
Yeah. I was like, I kind of wanted there to be something more exciting about the cave, but okay, it's okay, it's adequate. And then Vecna's like, no, I chose this. I chose to align myself with the Mind Flayer. Basically, he's like, I chose to be evil. And then Will's like, oh, okay. And I was just like, why was that there? Like, I didn't get that at all, because I kind of thought they were trying to set up, Vecna was brainwashed just like Billy was, and I was like, oh, it's going to be weird having Henry suddenly be good, but then he doesn't, and nothing changes from that scene. So I was like, that's the scene they could have cut or altered slightly, even if they didn't want to have Vecna have a heel turn. That Vecna could have been, or Henry could have been another. Henry could have been another victim, if whenever Will did that conflict, even if he was like, I don't want to do, it could have been like Billy, I don't want to be bad, I don't want to do this, but then the Mind Flayer has control of him anyways. So they could have basically done the ending with Billy again, which, would be doing the same ending again. But I mean, if they wanted to up their body count of people that were technically kind of innocent, and also make that scene have some kind of weight to it, I think that would have been good. Or they could have just cut that scene. That's fine too. But I was just like, what was the point of, it's not your fault, Henry. No, actually, I chose to be evil. The magical rock had nothing to do with it. And I was just like, okay.
I'm definitely with you on the magical rock. Like that just, I think that's the other end of the thing with how the show ends with 11, where like I'm perfectly fine with that because I do like them leaving it up to the viewer to decide what happened. That's the opposite end where I think the magical rock is a bit of a MacGuffin, and I think they just could have explained it better, you know, overall. Like, that's one thing we didn't really need. Or if you're going to do it, explain it better. So, yeah.
And also, if Vecna was going to align himself with the Mind Flayer, I would have liked an explanation, because I don't think we ever really got one either. So, yeah, that whole scene just created more problems than it solved. So,
well, maybe you're convincing me. Maybe this because I really enjoyed the finale. Like, I got really emotional, partly because we're obviously leaving these characters off, and we've seen them literally grow up. And as I said, the stuff at the end just nailed it, because I sort of also really enjoyed how they have the next generation come down into the basement.
Yeah, I did like that really final scene quite a bit. So, for all the complaints I have with the finale, I did really like the final scene. I don't think I would have changed anything about that. So,
the hype season, because of what a big show like this is, and so much put on the finale. And I mean, to be fair, there seems to be a lot of negativity about the season in general, so that's interesting, because we're obviously mostly positive, and it seems like a lot of your complaints is with the finale. But you know, I guess it's just that thing. Sometimes these things do get blown out of proportion, and it's kind of, it's a bit extreme to like start saying this is one of the worst season finales ever, you know, because I mean, I really liked it. Like, I can see more of the fault now because of this discussion, but like, it's nowhere near one of the worst season finales ever. Like, I just can't get on board with that way of thinking. Like, people who think that haven't seen enough bad season finales or episodes of TV.
I think that this is one of the worst season finales of a very, very popular show. So not like in general, but just like, you know, like when you think of the really, really popular shows of the last decade, you know, like it is a little bit harder to think of one that's ended not like in terms of, oh, I feel depressed, or like, oh, you know, just it was super unsatisfying. There's a couple things that were unsatisfying, but for me, the problems are just like a lot of the lack of logic, and also some of the, and I say some of the characters, I think Hopper's really the only one I have a big problem with, but that's a really big problem, that Hopper seems to be kind of okay, and I wanted him to be a little more sad. You know, like the proposal scene would have been perfect, because it would have shown he's trying to move on with his life. He has Joyce supporting him. That's how he's going to get through this. But like, he doesn't even mention Elle, and I'm like, that's a problem for me. So I guess everyone else was fine, especially because Mike did grieve quite a bit, and I liked that. But I just feel like Hopper's reaction was ugh. So yeah, for me, like the big issues, I could get over how fast the fight was. I can even kind of get over the pacing thing, but like, there's just a couple of logic things that really bugged me. Again, like the military letting them go. And another thing I didn't mention was Henry's afraid of the cave, but then he chose to team up with the Mind Flayer, and it seems like he, you know, I'm like, that I didn't really see what was super traumatic about the cave in retrospect, because if he chose to be with the Mind Flayer and the Mind Flayer wasn't controlling him, I was like, why is he so afraid? So there's a couple of like mystery answers that weren't super satisfying, but then there were some that were, like the bridge being the portal to the other world and all that.
Yeah, I really like that stuff.
Yeah, I love Dustin's the actor's way he delivered it, that whole scene was very cool. So you're right that like almost every problem I have is with the finale. That seems to be where some of the logic inconsistencies happen. But I'll say the opposite. I feel like this conversation's made me like the finale a little more because I realized it's not all of the characters acting weird. It's mostly just Hopper. And that the rest of them would still be grieving, but not necessarily on the outside and not necessarily as constantly. And they probably would have equated that grief with also their trauma of everything they've been through. So like whenever the teenagers are on the roof, you know, Robin and Jonathan and all them, and they're crying, like part of that is Elle and part of that is like everything they've been through and being relieved that hopefully that's all over. So yeah, I feel like Hopper's the only one that's just like, this is crazy. And, you know, maybe Joyce a little bit too, because, you know, Elle lived with her for a while and she was kind of her mom for, you know, at least 9 months or something. So yeah, I think that proposal scene should have been a lot sadder is what I'm trying to say. There should have been tears and hugging and you know, I don't know.
I think you're right about there should have been some sort of mention of Elle in that scene. Like I didn't think of that, but I think you're right. That would have improved it. It's so funny because I'm the flip with that and the Steve scene and them on the roof, because I much prefer that scene on the roof than I do the proposal scene. But it's just, but no, like that's the point of these conversations. Like you've definitely brought things to it which has made me think, yeah, maybe that could have been better. And obviously, as you said, there's certain things I brought up which has maybe made you think, you know. So that's the point of this. And we've definitely got obviously so many sub conversations we can have later on or at a future date. But like I think my overall thing is like, it's just personal taste, but overall I'm more positive on the finale than you, and I'm more positive on the finale than a lot of people. I think overall, even with some of the problems, it's a fitting finale for this show. And I think I would just say, like, we need time for the finale to sit in people's minds and for this season to sit in people's minds, and then come back and revisit it then, you know, because sometimes it is hard to like desensitize yourself from all the hype and all the talk. So maybe see where we are later.
Yeah, I think with time I might be more okay with the pacing and the battle because I'll be like prepared for it, you know. Also with Elle's death and or disappearance, I think that part of my not liking it was like, I can't believe they did that to my girl. She was not one of my favorites, but I always felt like because everything she went through, that she'd be okay, you know. So, and that she'd get to have a normal life, like Hopper said. If I rewatch it, I'll be better. I'll be more okay with that, but I'll never be okay with Hopper's lack of sadness. And
you're really digging into that.
And I think the military thing's still going to bug me too. Even with your explanation, I still just feel like, nah, these dudes are nuts. They've been shooting them this whole time.
Madison, I know. I know you're smarter than me. I'm just hand waving this whole thing. It's like the show moved me and entertained me. That's how I hand wave all these things.
That's good. I can hand wave a lot. That's just the one. That would be like Vecna letting them go. Like the military's just been the enemy for so long. It's like, and it would have been such an easy fix. Either they could have just ran away, which I would have been okay with that. Like, yeah, logically they probably would have hunted them all down, but I'll be okay with just, you know, they let them go because they ran away and whatever. But they didn't even do that. They're just like, oh, Elle's gone. You can leave now. Like,
you make some good points. You definitely made. And it's been a great discussion because I definitely didn't see some of your complaints. Like I was legit expecting you to like that Nancy Jonathan scene a lot more.
Oh,
so the fact you weren't so keen on that is really interesting. And
that was mostly okay. But like I said, the fact that so many people were like, "Did they break up?" Like that's not great. But And like I said, I love the acting. I think that if one of them, and I'm thinking Jonathan, because Nancy's so independent and it just makes more sense. She's got more options. She's got Steve. Oh, and what a diss that was when she said Steve has better hair. I was like, oh, you talked about Jonathan getting a dig in with I don't like your articles. I thought the hair comment was, that's soul crushing.
That was a bit, I wonder if that was a bit of meta thing for the audience, maybe.
I think so. But I definitely kind of wish that it had been one-sided heartbreak, because that would have just that was then the ring falling would have just been a wound instead of they're going to be okay. So yeah, I would have tweaked it a little, but that's not a scene I have a big problem with. It was all right. So yeah, it was very tense too. I started to get a little claustrophobic in that scene because the kept rising. So that was well done. Yeah, I kind of wish the goo would come back some more. It could have.
That's true. Yeah, I never thought about that.
It could have glued the season together.
Very good.
Somebody, I think somebody asked one of the Duffer brothers, what was that? And they were like, I don't know.
Yeah. No, I did wonder, but it definitely looked like glue, didn't it? It had that texture.
They were just inside of a giant glue bottle. That was what that was.
Yeah, why not? That's a great premise for a horror movie there. Yeah.
It's a giant alien glue bottle. That's what they were stuck in.
Let's get that written. Okay, so because we've been here a very long time, I'm just going to do some quick wrap-up questions and just answer these as quickly as possible. And then I might have to cut out that poop stuff now because
that was golden.
Yeah, highlight of the episode. You've given me so much editing to do, so thank you for that.
I'm sorry.
Right. Okay.
Leo's. Oh, he's not in here. Leo's sorry too. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Leo's forgiven. I'm not sure about you, but. Okay. First wrap-up question: if you had to pick one scene from the finale, which was the best one? Which one would you go for?
Either the graduation scene or the last scene. So. Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's interesting. Yeah, it's funny. We didn't talk much about the graduation scene, but that was a fun scene. I liked Erica's involvement in that scene. That was fun.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, I'm gonna go. I mean, it's not really a scene, but like just the moment with Joyce and her killing Vecna. That's my standout because she had the badass line. And just the use of the flashbacks and the whole emotion and the fact, as Rachel has said, it took so many swings because that makes it all the more sort of physical and things. And so technically not really a scene because in a way it's coming at the end, but that's my moment anyway so I would go with that because that pays off so many things from across.
Agreed. That is a great moment.
This one might be a bit more tricky. Do you have an MVP of the season?
Well, I mean 11 because she died. I mean, she didn't die. She disappeared for everybody. She died and or disappeared for everybody.
Rumor has it, yeah.
So yeah, either her or Mrs. Wheeler because she had two of the most badass scenes of the season, and she's not somebody you would expect that from. So either Mrs. Wheeler or 11. Yeah.
Oh, nice. No, that's interesting. Yeah, fair enough. Okay. Naturally, I'm going to go for Holly to piss you off. No.
You're going to say Nancy, right?
No.
Oh, okay.
Not quite. Nancy had a good season. Like we talked about the stuff in the hospital. That was really good from her. And she did have a good season, I think. No, I'm going to go for Max. I'll actually go for Max. Because I think it took a while to get there. But I think all the stuff with her and Holly I pretty much loved. And I think Sadie Sink just knocked it out the park once again. And as I said, that episode 6, I think, is the best episode of the season. And obviously that had really the biggest Max scenes of the whole season, and it was such a beautiful like end to that episode. And
yeah,
you know, I do love a lot of the stuff with them this season, working as a team and the whole thing with Henry. So I'll give it to Max. I'll say my runner-up is Mike, probably, because I like he did have a better season this season, like, because I know he was a fan favorite early on, but then maybe he lost his way a little bit as the season.
The writers didn't focus on him other than as Elle's love interest for probably,
possibly not, especially in season 4, even though they're separate plots. But unfortunately, he just happened to be in the plot where it had the least amount of attention. But because it's weird, there's even an episode in season 4 where that plot isn't featured, which has to, well, apart from that weird Elle thing in season 2, but that's the first for the show where you don't even have like a whole subplot of characters in an episode. That's really funny. But no, he had a much better season. Like, I really loved the inspirational speeches, the stuff with Holly, like we said. Nice scene with him and Nancy in the hospital, that was really good. And obviously in the final episode he became important for obvious reasons. So and it's all fitting, then it was kind of him. He was literally the last character you see really before they fade to black. And it all like ended where it started, really, in that basement. So that was Mike has a good season, so I think he would be my runner-up, because there's been a lot of talk about, because of people being more negative on this season, and the finale is like, do you still think Stranger Things will be remembered as a great show?
Oh, that's tough, because people are harsh. I mean, I think Dexter was great. I even think the last season had some really awesome moments, and I don't think that finale is as bad as people say. But so I'm like, I don't know. Stranger Things might get the Dexter treatment, where because a lot of people didn't like the last episode, it just gets totally scorned. But then it might get the Buffy treatment, because there's a lot of people that didn't like that ending, and now Buffy is like one of the most loved shows. I would say of all time, but especially of like the 90s. So I honestly don't know, but I would say yes. I think overall people are going to recommend it. Like I said, I have mixed feelings about the finale, mostly negative, although I have mostly positive feelings about the show overall, and I feel better about it after this talk. This was therapeutic. But I still recommend it. Like, I have 2 friends that have never seen it, and they're like, I watched the first season. One of them hasn't seen any of it. And I'm like, you should just still watch it. Like I said, brace yourself that the last episode isn't super loved, but it's not awful, you know? But I'm like, but it's overall a great show. And there's just so many good seasons. Yeah, like even if the finale isn't what you want it to be, it's not so bad that you can't rewatch the show. So I told them I highly recommend it, especially now that it's all out and you don't have to wait for anything. Yeah. So I think because of that, it'll still be loved. Because, I mean, I'm still recommending it, so I think that a lot of people are still going to watch it, and it'll be loved. So I think so.
And that Buffy finale that was going to be one I mentioned. People see like season 7, the last season, as like a weaker season, but like they still, like you said, they still remember it as a great show. Like, I think overall, even if a finale's disappointing, like even if the final season is disappointing, which again is debatable because we have a lot of positive things to say about it, but like even if it's, I think when you've gone on this long journey for 5 years and there's so many ups and downs, so many great scenes, and it's a bit like I said earlier, like particularly the first 3 seasons, like they do work as like you're just going on another adventure with these characters, and it's great to see them grow. And even in season 5, no matter what else you want to say about it, there are some memorable moments, some great iconic memorable moments. That's what baffles me. Like, I have actually heard people say, like this season doesn't really have standout scenes, or like I don't get this. Like, what are they watching? I mean, there's definitely things wrong with the season, but like, you can't really say that when you have like things like the turbo trap, like that whole thing, and like all the stuff going on in like episode 6, like. And definitely stuff in the finale that stands out. So like, no, I mean, that stuff baffles me, but like how anyone can watch the show and this season and think that, but no.
Yeah. I will say I don't think anything this season topped the Eddie Munson guitar solo, Master of Puppets. I don't think anything this season topped that. But yeah, looking back at the earlier seasons, I do think in season 2, that scene where we see the Mind Flayer, I think that's one of the best scenes of the whole series. Where we actually see it, and like it's huge and massive, and yeah, that was quite memorable and frightening. Yeah, it is so crazy to me that some of the visual effects in the earlier seasons I feel are creepier and more shocking than what we got this season. But I do feel like from a character perspective, we get some great scenes. Like it's smaller scale, but like I love the scene where everybody gets drugged and Erica's at the table. That's very memorable from a comedy perspective.
Yeah.
The scene with Mrs. Wheeler stabbing the Demogorgon is very memorable to me.
Good horror scene.
Yeah. That whole sequence of being chased and everything is great
scene. Yeah.
So, yeah, I think every season has its moments. And in season 3, obviously, the final battle is epic. But then the scene where they lock Billy in the sauna and he's crying.
Oh, yeah. I love that stuff. Yeah.
That's such a good scene. So, awesome. To be fair, the bar is super high. Even if it doesn't have as many standout scenes. Or, I think, more importantly, it has probably as many, but maybe some of them are not as memorable. But I do think that, it's got some really fantastic scenes and images. And again, if you're comparing it to, if the only thing you compare it to is like earlier seasons of the show, like that's still pretty good, Like if you compare it to many other shows, like it's got some very iconic scenes. So yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's what I say sometimes is like, I think it's an overall standard of quality where like, like, I'm not 100% sure this is the weakest season, but even if it is, I think for a weakest season of the show, that's a pretty high standard. Like, I would happily rank it up against a lot of other seasons of TV, and I think it would come out stronger, personally. So, I think we're in a similar place where I do think some of this is over time, you need to revisit it, and like... I don't think one bad finale or like one bad a lot of people don't like the finale, or a lot of people don't seem to like the season. I don't think that's enough to like ruin the whole reputation of the show. Like we said earlier, it's a defining show of its era. It's sort of the defining show of the streaming era. It's event TV, which really doesn't happen very often anymore. So we said that people are all talking about it and theorizing and all the rest. So I don't think the negativity from this season is really enough to affect its overall status. Like, I think it, like we both said, it will make for a great rewatch, like a good binge watch, all 5 seasons. And I think a lot of people, fans of the show, will be in the same boat as us with that, where they will happily rewatch it and go on that journey again. So I agree with you. I agree. So that's fair. Okay, well, that's about it. Like, we've covered the main stuff. So thank you, Madison. Thanks for joining me, and you were very well prepared. Some really good notes.
I know I think this is the first time I've shown up on your channel with notes. So, one more thing.
Go on.
I wrote Callie could have been a great second villain. I think that could have been fun too. All right, I'm throwing this notebook away now.
Thank you. Well, no, that was
all
awesome.
Stranger Things
You
notes.
came prepared, yeah.
Yeah.
We'll definitely have more discussions of that in the future. And notably, I didn't play my hand too much when you brought up Dexter, because we can definitely talk about that show in the future as well. Because I have thoughts, some positive, some not so, but we can definitely talk about that show at a later date. But yeah, no, thank you, Madison. Again, this has been a great discussion. Thanks for going on this journey for me with me in this final season. It's been quite the journey, and yeah, we've been going a very long time. So I'll round up. I was trying to think of a witty outro. Obviously, check out Madison's channel. I'll put that in the description once again. I don't know. I'm tired.
That's a great outro right there. I'm tired. Bye, guys.
Screw this. See you later. No, I mean, I guess you picked the wrong set of podcasters to fuck with like that. Thank you. It's not that good, but I'm just tired. But,
that works. That works for me.
It works.
Yeah.
Thanks, everyone. Have a good one. See you soon. Bye.
Something is coming. Something hungry for blood. What is it? The Demogorgon!
We're in deep shit.
Now we have to go. Later. See you tomorrow. Good night, ladies.
Kiss your mom night for me.
Will is missing. I don't know where he is.
99 out of 100 times, kid goes missing. The kid is with a parent or a relative.
What about the other time?
What?
You said 99 out of 100. What about the other time? The one! The one!
Wow! Wow! Guys, I really think we should turn back.
Did you guys hear that? That's not Will. You're in trouble, aren't you?
We've sealed off this area.
This is where it came from?
Yes.
And the girl?
She can't have gone far.
Find her.
Do you really think it was a coincidence that we found her at the same place where Will disappeared?
Something is going on here!
What the hell?
She knows about Will!
Is there any way that you could reach him?
Yes.
What if this whole time I've been looking for Will? I've been chasing after something else.
On Halloween night, Will saw a sort of shadow. Maybe all of this is happening for a reason.
These are not nightmares. It's happening. And it all leads back to here.
This thing.
You said it was all in his head. And what have you done? Nothing.
What is wrong with my boy?
I don't understand. 11 what? She always did. It's like it's reaching into Hawkins. If anyone knows how to destroy this thing, it's Will.
Oh my God.
Don't you think it's weird how we only seem to hang out when the world's about to end?
It's It's not like it was before. It's grown.
It's Judgment Day. Which is why we need as much help as we can get. Is anyone there? Anyone! Go now. It's almost here. You still have that bat?
Bat? What bat?
One with the nails.
You let us in. And now, you are going to have to let us stay.
I closed the gate.
What if he never left? What if we locked him out here with us? He'd want to attach himself to someone again. A new host.
It's building something.
No matter what happens, we have to stop him. Together.
Now it's time. We're going to end you. We're going to end your friends. And we are going to end everyone.
Our kids are in danger. We need to end this.
I can fight.
Better than any of us. But I need you safe.
What the hell?
I need you to trust me.
Holy mother of God.
Is almost an end.
Dear Billy, I don't know if you can even hear this. Ever since you left, everything's been a total disaster. For a while, we tried to be happy. Normal. Impossible.
I relocated you guys far from Hawkins because I thought you'd be safe. A war is coming. I'm afraid your friends at Hawkins
very much in the eye of the storm.
I don't have my powers.
I don't know how to say this other than just to say it. Without you, we can't win this war.
See you on the other side.
On the other side.
I was convinced I was put here for some other reason. Maybe I can still help, even if it's the last thing I do.
People say Hawkins is cursed. They're not way off.
It's time. You have lost.
This whole time, everything we have ever assumed about the Upside Down has been dead wrong.
This isn't like one of your campaigns. You don't get to write the ending. Not this time.
We stay true to ourselves. Stay true to our friends. No matter the cost. After what we've been through, this thing, it ties us together forever.
Wherever this blood leads, I need you to fight one last time. Let's end this, kid.
Mother of God.
You die, I die.
You die, I die. We never stood a chance. We failed.
This is not over. Not by a long shot.
It's time for new.
I don't know what's on the other side of any of this. If we want to stand a chance of surviving, we need to be a team.
I need you to fight one last time. Life has been so unfair to you. Your childhood was taken from you. You've been attacked, manipulated by terrible people. But you never let it break you. Fight for the days on the other side of this. Fight for a world beyond Hawkins.
Let's end this, kid.
Mother
Mother of God.